Ella es directora ejecutiva del British Council English Corps. Es una profesional del sector de evaluaciones de inglés con experiencia laboral en Cambridge, Reino Unido, y más recientemente en el English Corps del British Council en London, Reino Unido. Es licenciada en Ingeniería Ambiental Arquitectónica y tiene un máster en Administración de Empresas por la Universidad de Cambridge. Michelle habla inglés, indonesio y mandarín. Sin más preámbulo, invito a Michelle al podio, por favor. Sí.
Michelle.
Va a ser transmisión en vivo.
Hi.
A ver, vamos a esperar unos minutos que se pueda conectar Michelle.
Okay, I think I can start now. I can't see you, but I'm guessing that I'll go ahead. Okay. Hi, everybody. It's very nice to be back here, although online, at SENATI. I visited SENATI about 2 years ago, and it was a very wonderful experience being right there in Lima. Honestly, incredibly jealous of all the wonderful Peruvian food. My name is Michelle, CEO of English Corps, and it's a big honor to present today at SENATI, one of our esteemed clients in Peru. I'm not here today by myself. I've got Frida, who is helping me with the slides, but also Javier Carino, our country manager for Peru, is also in attendance today. So I'm just going to jump straight into our presentation. At English Corps, we sit at the intersection of technology and English assessment, and we witness firsthand on the importance and impact of generative AI to the world of English language learning and assessment. And I know that all of us here have seen the capabilities of AI. And I hope at least some of you have thought and wondered to ourselves as much as I have. What is the importance of English? Is English still important in the age of AI? I myself read a lot about this and found a lot of researchers, as well as like-minded people writing opinion piece about this very interesting topic. And so in this presentation, what I'm really hoping to do is to share a little bit about my finding, opinion, but also hopefully can convince you that English is more than important in this age of AI. All right, let's go to the next slide. As I'm sure you all here understand it very well, the education sector is getting very comfortable, starting to get very used to Gen AI tools, for example, ChatGPT. But what I want to do is to really recap on what AI can do in our space, in the English language learning and assessment space. Next slide. There are 3 things that I want to highlight. The first one is artificial intelligence now can do idiom level translation. We'll talk more about the importance of this in the next slide. We also know that AI now can do real-time voice chat. And finally, AI can now generate complicated bulk document translations. But let us deep dive into each one of them. To the next slide, please. Okay, so I'm guessing that everyone has tried using a translator tool before Gen AI. Before Gen AI, web-based translator tool very often mistranslates idioms, phrases, or jargons. I'm sure we've all been there before. For example, the word that I want to highlight is fall protection. Fall protection is basically a series of recommended action and movement that you should do when you're about to actually fall down. It's a part of occupational health and safety, and it's widely practice and trained to a lot of workers in all parts of the world. But pre-Gen AI, when you use a web translator tool, when you try to translate this, the Spanish version of fall protection sometimes will say otoño protección, which actually means autumn instead of falling as in falling down. But it's very different now with Gen AI. Gen AI has the capability to assess the word and then infer that fall protection actually refers to occupational health and safety. And so it translates it correctly to protección contra caídas. Next slide. More excitingly, I'm actually wondering if many of you, I couldn't see you, but I'm wondering if many of you have tried ChatGPT's real-time voice chat function, this blue blob here. So I wanted to show you what ChatGPT real-time voice chat function can do. So let's play this video, please.
I speak Italian, so we can
okay,
do
cool.
English,
Let's
Italian.
try to do English Italian. Sure, let's do it. Hey, ChatGPT, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. How about you? How's your day going?
I'm doing great. So I would like you to function as a translator. I have a friend here who only speaks Italian, and I only speak English. And every time you hear English, I want you to translate it to Italian. And if you hear Italian, I want you to translate it back to English. Is that good?
Perfetto.
Ma io mi chiedo, se le balene potessero parlare, cosa ci direbbero?
Mike, she wonders if whales could talk, what would they tell us?
They might ask, how do we solve linear equations?
Potrebbero chiederci come risolviamo le equazioni lineari.
Sicuramente sì.
Certainly yes.
Great, looks like it works.
Okay, so that's a video posted a year ago by OpenAI. And what you saw there was actually a real-time translation in 2 different languages. It actually just doesn't stop there. The video actually showed ChatGPT speaking to the first person, but the real-time voice chat right now can actually listen to you in one language and then respond it back to a different language. And we all know that prior to Gen AI, this wasn't possible. The tone and the pronunciation of Gen AI, real voice chat right now is so good that it feels like talking to a real person who understands the language. I myself have used it for different languages, learning new languages, checking different languages, and it's really fantastic. If you haven't tried it, I highly encourage you to try the real-time voice chat function. All right, on to the next slide. The third one is bulk document translation. Prior to Gen AI, when you try to copy-paste a large chunk of text, you need to copy-paste by chunks, copy-paste, and it can be very tedious. But you no longer need to do this. For example, in our line of work at English Core, we deal a lot with spreadsheets every day, and when we need it to get translated, all you need to do is upload the Excel sheet, tell it to translate to a different language, and then it's going to give you an entire new Excel sheet with the new language. So that's how good it gets now. Okay, next slide, please. Now, so you can imagine, after seeing all these different capabilities, what a learner feels like today. If ChatGPT, if Gen AI can speak in another language and understands idiom and phrases, can translate bulk document, do we really need to learn English, or can we rely on Gen AI completely to do the communication part for us? I'm actually quite curious on what people here think. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share my screen instead of Frida and actually ask you what your thoughts are when it comes to the importance of English in the age of AI. So what we have here is a QR code. And if you can scan it, hopefully that's big enough, and contribute to the poll. I really hope this works. Let me know if it doesn't work. Okay, somebody said yes. Two. Yes, but I don't know why. Okay, we've got more people coming, 26 people, 20. All right, more results are coming in. I think it's an overwhelming yes right now. I love it. Somebody said no. Yes, but I don't know why. Okay, I think we can stop there. All right, so it's a very overwhelming, more than 95% of you actually said, yes, it is important. And there are also people who said, yes, I think that's important, but I don't know why. Fantastic. All right, we're gonna go back to Frida now. Okay, so look, it's very interesting that us in the space, we all are very involved. We're teachers, English, and people who work in the English language space. We all think that English is important. Well, here's the thing. You're right. English is important and even more. So English isn't simply surviving the AI boom. It's really gaining strategic value because AI amplifies the rewards of working in a language that the machines, markets, and decision maker already run on. Simply put, if somebody can communicate in English, especially when they're very good in all four skills, then they will gain more value out of the AI boom. More mileage because, first of all, the market operates mostly in English. Second one, decision makers in the learner's, graduate's career, English is still very important. But ultimately, it is also important to understand that English is the language that is used by the machine themselves. And we'll talk about more of that in the next few slides. Next slide. All right, so English is important in the age of AI because of these two things. First of all, it is irreplaceable, and second, because of what I mentioned earlier, and I emphasize, LLMs, large language model, are mostly in English. And so being able to communicate in English means that you're able to create better AI prompts. And we're gonna dive deep dive into the first one, which is irreplaceability factor. Next one, please. First of all, let's take a look at communication. We know that when we communicate person to person, like what you're doing today at the conference in SENATI, communication is full of nuances. And unfortunately, Gen AI translations, they do not replicate those human discussion. So just imagine for one quick second that we use ChatGPT in a meeting. Real-time tools, even the ones that you saw at the OpenAI video, adds latency. It adds time for you to actually wait for the translation to come in. It adds awkward pauses when you actually have to use a tool. It also forces you to break eye contact, which is really important when communicating. And when you insert things like humor or persuasion, it translated using its own language and its own nuances, and it simply does not deliver. And if you take this into the context of work, this can be very negative during sales, for example, conversation, leadership conversation, big meetings, and high trust setting. So take the step back now and imagine this scenario. Imagine if you crack a joke to lighten up a mood in a meeting, but you have to wait for a translator, whether that's AI or human, to deliver the joke. It will fall flat, there's too much time, it's awkward, it's not great. So you can't really fully communicate using AI tools. The next one. Trust is also built on communication, and that's something that Gen AI cannot replicate. The goal of communication, oftentimes at professional setting, is to actually establish trust between two parties. And while you're doing that, language carries a lot of unspoken rules. For example, humor, your own persuasion style, how you talk, and also small talk rhythms as well. For example, how's the weather? Oh, great, how many kids do you have? Those rhythms build up this feeling of being connected to one another, and that simply cannot be replaced with generative AI function. In short, when I was thinking about it, I thought, you know what, humans, we out to humans. And learning English really gives you direct access to that cultural layer. It allows you to be your authentic self, and you can touch on those unspoken rules and help you to actually access that particular layer and help you better communicate. All right, next slide, please. And the final piece of irreplaceability is that oftentimes when we think about the world of work and where our learners or test takers use English, we think about, oh, my graduates will be completing their degree and they'll be going to work, they'll be in business meetings, they'll be writing emails, they'll be reading reports. While all of those are true, we also know that a huge chunk of what they will be doing is also socializing with their colleague. And as they grow into their career and grow into more senior position, they have to start interacting in a social, professional setting. And we know that that's irreplaceable. You can't use Gen AI in the same way as when you use it for simple tasks such as reading a report or writing an email. Okay, moving on to the next slide. Now, that's our first part, the irreplaceability part. Now I wanted to talk about the second part, which is the fact that English actually boosts your AI mileage. Now, first of all, let's look at the second part here. English boosting your AI mileage. What does it mean? Using English actually lets you work with Gen AI tools natively and helps you better with prompts. Now, I don't know about you, but maybe if we reflect, most of the time I use Gen AI and I use ChatGPT in English, even though my native language is actually Indonesian. Right now, why do I want to do that? It's mostly because I do get better results when I use Gen AI in English. And the reason to that is because 90% of LLMs right now are trained on data that are in English. I need to verify this, but I read a report just several days ago that for French language, for example, the entire LLM that's available publicly right now are only using 2% of their LLM using the French language. This means that when you prompt ChatGPT in another language, basically what went behind the scene is that it silently thinks in English. So you prompt it in your language, and then it thinks in English, and then it back translated to you in your own language. And what can happen during that process is that it can lose some of its nuances, and it can introduce subtle errors that keep on growing bigger as you prompt it even further. Next slide, please. And when you're working on something very particular, especially in a specialized domain, for example, for us in language assessment, or even in a much more higher stakes domain, for example, engineering or medical science and similar, prompts work better when you actually use them in English, because complex instructions sometimes have no one-to-one equivalent in other languages. So if you use an English prompt, normally it produces cleaner, more reliable results than a translated prompt. So that helps you to save time that you'd otherwise spend debugging. All right, so the next one is a proof of really how English is important in the age of AI. So I saw this yesterday, actually. I live in Vancouver, in Canada, and I wanted to see, is it true that prompt engineering, which is a new role that's created now that the age of AI is here, I wanted to see if English and communication is important in those jobs. And the first job that I pulled up was actually this one. Is a job for data annotation. It's AI trainer in the domain of physics. I don't know if you can see it because it's quite small, but you could see that the first qualification is actually fluency in English, native or bilingual level, meaning that they wanted something very high, like a C1 or C2. And that's important because as an AI trainer, you're dealing with LLMs that are mostly trained on English, and so you need to be able to do a clean prompt and work closer with the LLMs using English. Okay, next slide. So with all of that in mind, what does it mean to the world of English assessment? I think simply put, there's never been a more important time than ensuring your students are learning, tested, and certified with 4 skills. Next slide, please. And what this actually means, and I hope that you see it from what I've been presenting thus far, is that productive skills, especially speaking and writing, really take center stage in the age of AI. Whether that's writing prompts or being able to speak in a world where Gen AI cannot replace humans, applying knowledge of English is different than simply understanding it. So how does that translate to us? For us in assessment, I think speaking and writing abilities is so important right now, and we cannot infer the abilities of a test taker just by testing listening and reading. We need to be able to test all 4 skills to truly understand what their level is. And at the same time, for all the teachers in the room, it's really time to teach learners how to actually speak and write in English. I can tell you from our experience, I often speak to our managers where we hire teams from many different countries that the speaking and writing abilities are not only important, it's already an integral part. Employers will demand this, other companies are demanding the skill, and so very soon this will become the new norm. Employers will ask for not only a listening and writing ability, but all 4 skills. Next slide. And a small segue into what we do at English Score. We are an AI-driven technology mobile test, allowing affordable, fast, and accurate 4 skills tests. We measure communication in both our speaking and writing tests as a part of the sub-scores. And so, if you're interested in understanding a little bit more about English Score, some of my team members are in attendance today. Do speak to them. We're also very mission-driven, so definitely speak to Javier to understand a little bit more about what we do and our mission in making sure that graduates and institutions have access to a 4 skills test. Okay, as a last note, in preparing for this presentation, I saw 2 really great articles that I highly encourage you to read. The first one is from Nikkei. Nikkei is a Japanese publication, and it's a movie called Why Learn English in the Age of AI. It's a short film, only about 20 minutes, and it focuses a lot on students, primary school students that are learning English and understanding their motivation behind learning English in this new age of AI, but also touching on some cultural aspect. It's fantastic. Highly recommend that you take a look at this. The second one is a publication from Harvard Business School. It's a piece written by a researcher called Li-Tian Chang, Why Soft Skills Still Matter in the Age of AI. And I thought the quote here is really important. It says that the labor market is changing really fast, and understanding the skill landscape and the progressions of skills is so important today. Highly specific, advanced technical skills are obviously important, but fundamental skills are actually really important too, if not more important. And in it, he also wrote that oral communication skills and English in particular are integral to this changing labor market in the age of AI. So definitely I encourage you to have a read at these 2 articles if you want to read more about this topic. Okay, I think I am reaching the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. And I'm going to hand it back to the presenter.
¿Alguien quiere conversar, por favor, con ella? ¿Con Michelle? Ah, sí, tenemos.
May have
With the advent of technology and taking into account many of the tools that AI can provide to us teachers, one of the skills in which especially students take advantage of is writing. So we teachers end up correcting generally machine work. So what would you suggest to somehow tackle with that? Because writing is a productive skill. So we are going to just assess what AI provides. So we wouldn't be helping them at all. And then they won't be eligible to apply, for example, to universities.
Thank you very much for the question. And I just wanted to reconfirm, is the question now that Gen AI tools are widely available, a lot of your students are taking advantage of that, and is that what you mean? They're submitting work that's not theirs?
What I meant is that generally students like type the question, okay, a teacher hands in an assignment and the students just type the question and they have the product and then they send it back to the teacher and the teacher ends up correcting nonsense work sometimes.
Great, thank you for the question. Okay, I got it. So I like the question because we work in the field of assessment, and in this way, it's actually cheating, right? Because they're not providing authentic responses. And what we, first of all, like what we think is, number one, they're not really getting what they're there for, so they're producing scores even if they went past the various checks that you have. They're really not learning, and I find that making sure that students know that you're practicing creating your own voice, because in the world of working, for example, if you write an email and right now, it's very easy for us to know when that email is written by AI. AI has their own voice, and you can clearly see, okay, that email doesn't sound authentic at all. It doesn't have its nuances. It's clearly written by AI. So that will not help them in their future career. So that's the first part, which is really making sure that they understand that their future will be impacted if they continue almost like not training their brain to really learn English and just using prompts and copy pasting it. But of course, we all know students, it's easier to say that you got to think about your future. Well, whereas their brain is really just on the now. I would say on the second part is making sure that there's a way for us to check on whether they're progressing with their authentic voice. I think when somebody writes something, so for example, when you write an email, it's a little bit difficult on the academic side. If you're writing English for academic, it's you don't really have your authentic voice or like your brand in there. But then if you're writing something more personal, like emails, for example, then you could training or making sure that you're able to assess the nuances behind it would really help. So just to kind of link that back to English score, in one of our writing tasks is actually to assess your ability to communicate from one person to another. So it's not just a bunch of words, but are you actually communicating it properly? And we often find that if you use AI, it says a lot of words, but it doesn't mean something. But being able to be efficient in that is very important. So when at English Core, that's what we do. To be honest, I'm not sure how that can be easily applicable into your day-to-day and your question. But hopefully, at least you'll get a sense of where I'm coming from when it comes to this.
Good afternoon. Uh, I just want to know if do you believe that there is a way to fool AI to as students think that they fool teachers and they ask everything to chat GPT and they didn't do all the assignments? Because, for example, I said my students, I asked my students to read, I don't know, maybe news, and they say that they write it the questions, but everything was done by chat GPT. And then when I asked them, why do you do this one? And they say, my teacher, I'm so sorry. I didn't read it. I just asked GPT, yeah, can you tell me 10 questions? So there's a way to know.
Thank you very much. I think the simple answer, well, there are really two things. The first one is there are AI tools out there that are actually helping the teachers to check students' work to make sure whether they're authentic or not. We don't operate in that space, so I can't really say the accuracy, but I have seen a lot of conversation about universities in particular using AI tools to screen whether this is AI generated or not. So that's one aspect of it. I do think that the second part is obviously we're facing a bigger problem here with the age of AI, with students simply outsourcing their brain really to ChatGPT. And I also just read really interesting news that says that if you keep on outsourcing that part to ChatGPT, you actually stop learning, and it really affected your brain as well. I wonder if that piece of education of AI, I think if you looked at a lot of the conversations surrounding AI as well with OpenAI founders, they all talk about how to safely use AI. And I wonder if that piece of education is also important in today's world. So it's not just a matter of, all right, we know that AI is here, we know that you might use it, but if we pay a little bit of focus on explaining to the student why they shouldn't use AI and why is that cheating and why that doesn't help them in the future, I feel that that's a important gap that needs to be addressed. I think very often, many times, we see it as another tool that students might use, but it's actually already so ingrained in our life that that teaching them how to use it properly is as important as if you think about a few years ago, kids were always on their iPads. Mobile technology is everywhere. Everybody is using the technology. And now these days, various governments, Ministry of Education is now saying to students up to the age of 2 or age of 6, you shouldn't have exposure to mobile phone. So making sure that we use AI responsibly, making sure that parents and students are aware of that is important. Now I know it's not a straight answer to what you are saying. Again, as I said, there are tools that can help you, but that understanding, I think it's so critical in this relationship.
Hi, thank you so much for the presentation. I have a question. From your personal experience on the top of artificial intelligence tools, because I use a lot of ChatGPT for making my lessons more meaningful, perhaps. They help me a lot with even with my tertiary students and with everything about the school and designing a strategy and so on. From your perspective, which ones are on the top apart from ChatGPT?
So you're asking different Gen AI tools. I use a wide variety, and I think they all have different strengths. So for example, I use Claude. I don't know if you know Claude AI. To when I need something more efficient, and when I deal with codes and numbers and all that, I find that Claude is actually very powerful. I actually subscribe to its pro version because it's that good. And then I also use I checked out DeepSeek as well and Grok because they have a different take, and sometimes they're good at different things. So for example, I find that retaining information sometimes is difficult with ChatGPT. So if you have given it 5 or 6 different contexts and 5, 6 different prompts, suddenly it started having this amnesia and it forgot about the first prompt and the second one. But Grok is particularly good at that. So it remembers the first one, the second one, and so that. That's just my personal use. Obviously not advocating of any of this tool. They all have their own strengths and weaknesses. But I think outside of ChatGPT, those are the 2 that I use mostly in variation.
Thank you, Michelle.
Michelle, I think they're done with the questions for today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I hope you all have an enjoyable day at SENATI, and good luck with the rest of the conference.
Muy bien. Continuando, voy a presentar el siguiente ponente. Él es líder de desarrollo de negocios y ventas con más de una década de experiencia, impulsando el crecimiento en Latinoamérica. Actualmente se desempeña como Country Manager para Perú y Chile en British Council English Core, donde lidera la expansión de mercado, la adquisición de clientes y las alianzas estratégicas para una plataforma líder en examen de inglés. Licenciado en Finanzas, el señor Carreño destaca por formar equipos de alto rendimiento, diseñar estrategias de generación de ingresos y fomentar relaciones comerciales de alto nivel. Recibamos con un fuerte aplauso para el señor Javier Carreño, por favor.
I need the microphone, so give it a minute.
Ellos tienen una presentación.
Yo la mandé.
Vamos a esperar unos minutos, por favor.
thank you very much. My name is Javier Carreño. I am the country manager, the English Core, para los países de Perú, Chile, Bolivia, Brasil, Colombia. Ok, entonces, hagamos un poco de Spanglish, ok, un poco de español, un poco de inglés. Definitivamente, esta primera charla, how we designed this first series of speeches coming from British Council, Michelle, which is our CEO, she talked about the importance of having of learning English even with AI tools, correct? I think we can all agree it is a very important part of our lives since 2023 when ChatGPT got thrown into the market. The first thing that actually came, it's that we have a new set of tools, correct, to engage our students, to learn ourselves about new tools, nuevas herramientas, nuevas metodologías de poder enseñar a nuestros alumnos. Okay? Creo que aquí I think we can all agree. It is part of our lives. It is part of our lives now. AI, it's not going anyway. It's not going nowhere. If anything, will just be here forever. Do you guys remember when Wikipedia came out? No one wanted to accept Wikipedia as a trusted source. Teníamos que buscar otras herramientas para poder, los profesores decían, no, Wikipedia no es una herramienta útil para poder trabajar. Claramente, ya no es el caso. Wikipedia es después de muchos años de esfuerzos, de trabajo, Wikipedia is now a new form of finding information. So by now having AI tools, definitely there is an importance of it, but now we need to, what we want to do is to help you to ease your transition so you can also start using AI tools within your teachings, within your classes. So, importance by Michelle. I'm going to show you what needs to happen, what are the things that you need to think so you can actually implement AI tools within your classes. And then we're going to show you at the very end of my presentation an actual tool that's fully integrated with AI. All right? So, yeah, AI. ¿Es un aliado o un rival? I think todos podemos decir, ya es un aliado. It's an ally. It's come here. We need to embrace it. We need to take advantage of it. Someone asked questions about which tools are being used with AI, correct? Michelle mencionó GPT, DeepSeek, Claude. ¿Qué herramientas están utilizando? What tools are you guys using currently with AI? I want to hear some tools. Gemini, right? Anyone else? Pilot, okay. Copilot, ChatGPT, Gemini, correcto, sí, creo que Gemini la utilizan mucho. BART de Microsoft, Mónica, DeepSeek, la herramienta que sacaron los chinos, los asiáticos sacaron DeepSeek, es una gran herramienta, a mí me gusta mucho el producto final. Alexa, sí, Alexa tiene inteligencia artificial. En realidad, yo creo que el simple hecho de explicarles o de comentarles de que la inteligencia artificial tiene mucho más tiempo del 2023, Spotify, Netflix, todas esas herramientas ya tienen inteligencia artificial. ¿Okay? Cuando nos recomiendan una película, es lo que están haciendo por detrás es investigando según tu historia de vistas de películas, por ejemplo, o de música, de canciones, Spotify, tratar de recomendarte alguna película, alguna música en base a un histórico de muchos usuarios que tiene Netflix, que tiene Spotify. Entonces, definitivamente, creo que aquí todos estamos alineados, es un aliado. ¿Ok? You do some research online about AI and you try to link it with education. And these are some of the highlights that you can actually see on the news. ChatGPT is going to change education, not destroy it. Creo que todos estamos aquí alineados, estamos de acuerdo. Definitivamente el ChatGPT vino con muchas herramientas para ayudarnos y a la vez también tenemos problemas que los estudiantes, por ejemplo, creen que con un simple prompt van a poder burlar la inteligencia artificial. AI not yet ready for testing without humans. Aquí we need to be super honest. AI tools, it's a complement. It's never going to be the right. It's not going to be the only solution. I was reading a book about what happens as technology evolves and ChatGPT or AI tools. Are they gonna get rid of our jobs? Correct? Un ejemplo muy claro era los drones. Hace muchos años no existían los drones. Estos aviones que se manejan de manera automática. Ahora la gente pensaba cuando nacieron los drones, empezaron a hablar de los pilotos. No se quedaran sin trabajo los pilotos. Es la reacción lógica a esta herramienta y la respuesta fue no. ¿Por qué? Porque lo que pasó es de que ahora los pilotos, en vez de tener que vestirse, ponerse su traje de piloto e irse a montar un avión, lo hace desde su casa. Entonces, tiene que pensar siempre la inteligencia artificial como una herramienta, pero siempre va a haber una persona detrás de ella. ¿Ok? Piénsenlo, un practicante. Todos tenemos ahora un practicante que nos puede ayudar, pero a un practicante no le vamos a confiar que nos haga una presentación que le tenemos que presentar a Cindy, por ejemplo. Sino que tenemos que siempre hacer un proofread, hacer una revisión. Entonces, así es como yo manejo o veo la inteligencia artificial. ¿Pueden los estudiantes pasar la universidad con las herramientas que existen? La respuesta es no. ¿Por qué? Porque ya existen herramientas que de cierta manera hacen un proofread que te pueden verificar si el texto final fue creado por inteligencia artificial. ¿Ok? Entonces, poco a poco, la tecnología, así como nos va dando nuevas herramientas, nos da nuevos problemas y estos problemas vienen con nuevas soluciones. ¿Ok? Esto es claramente en muchos países quizás un poquito más desarrollados. Aquí vemos lo que pude encontrar yo de Perú. ¿Ok? Esta parte es muy interesante para mí porque claramente lo que demostramos o lo que podemos ver es de que poco a poco más universidades, centros de idiomas, escuelas, están incorporando this new set of rules, tools that AI is bringing to our table. ¿Okay? Todos conocemos la UNI está utilizando la inteligencia artificial para hacer proyecciones y demostraciones de cómo pueden mejorar sus procesos en la industria de la minería, por ejemplo. Ahí esa era una escuela de Chiclayo, si no me equivoco, que también están poco a poco incorporando las tecnologías de inteligencia artificial. ¿Ok? Entonces, ya está, ha llegado, claramente hay mucho todavía por explorar en el Perú en cuanto a las tecnologías, la educación, el aprendizaje del inglés, que es un tema que a todos nos importa acá. ¿Ok? Aquí quizás aquí el resumen. La UNI, first in Peru to embed AI across undergraduate, master's and doctoral programs in the mining sector. Lanzaron un programa, un laboratorio donde simulan operaciones de minería a 15 estudiantes a la vez. Claramente, uno de los beneficios de la inteligencia artificial es el hecho de que la inteligencia artificial nos puede hacer que nuestras herramientas sean escalables. ¿Ok? Ya no es un simulador físico que necesita una especie de room, si se quiere, sino que ya las simulaciones hechas con inteligencia artificial son igual de buenas de lo que podía ser un simulador que existía hace muchos años. ¿Ok? La UPC, aquí también, ellos han tomado un approach diferente. En la parte de la UNI es un poco más práctico a la universidad en sí y a los estudiantes para un punto ya de mercado laboral. La UPC lo ha hecho un poco diferente. Ellos han utilizado todas estas herramientas de inteligencia artificial, pero para mejorar la experiencia del estudiante. ¿Okay? they've embedded AI into the Blackboard LMS. LMS is a Learning Management System. Dentro de sus propias plataformas back office internos, la UPC está utilizando las herramientas de la inteligencia artificial para ir adecuando el proceso de aprendizaje de los estudiantes. ¿Okay? No todos aprendemos igual, algunas personas van a aprender a ciertos ritmos, entonces estas plataformas lo que están haciendo es adecuarse, es entender exactamente el proceso de aprendizaje de cada estudiante para poder ayudarlo y que pueda ya sea terminar sus clases más rápido o que pueda reforzar los puntos débiles y no un sistema donde simplemente ya se ven 5 videos, tengo que ver los 5 videos, quizás el video 1, 2 ya yo me lo sé, 3, 4, 5 los tengo que reforzar. Entonces, aquí estamos, es lo que se ha visto en Perú, definitivamente hay un mundo por recorrer. ¿Ok? Entonces, one of my promises within this discussion is, what do we need to think about for you guys to actually implement some of these AI tools within your own assessment, within your own way of teaching, correct? So we need to think about 4 different very specific points for you to actually take advantage of this, all right? Number 1, it's practicality, la practicalidad de la herramienta, ¿ok? Definitivamente para poder hacer una prueba tiene que ser práctica, tiene que ser algo que sea muy fácil diseñado. The user experience of the student needs to, we always need to think about the user experience of the students. That's why Duolingo, for example, did such a good job developing a tool. Duolingo, it's like playing a game. Anyone can use Duolingo, right? Always thinking about the practicality of the tool itself. So this is one of the first points that you do need to think about. Also, the reliability. Okay? Una cosa es crear una prueba, otra cosa es de que la prueba sea buena. Okay? Is the tool that I'm building or I'm trying to create, it's gonna be giving me same results? Is it gonna be standard? Is it gonna be scalable? So always need to think about the reliability, okay? Validity, of course, if we want to have a tool developed with AI, the tool needs to be valid enough. Valid enough, I mean, does the test will measure what it claims to measure, okay? Yo no voy a hacer una herramienta con inteligencia artificial que prometa que que vamos a poder medir el nivel de speaking de todos los alumnos y que la herramienta no funcione, no sea escalable, o que simplemente no dé el mismo resultado y mida los mismos skills que se busca. Entonces, ese es el tercer punto, la validez. Y, por supuesto, los beneficial consequences. What's the impact on the test users, teachers, school, and society? Ese pequeño grano de arena que estamos todos tratando de dejar en el mundo. ¿Okay? Aquí, entonces, ¿cómo AI impacts assessments? ¿Ok? Primer punto, la validez y la reliability. All right? Lo primero que, the first thing that AI tools gets to us is the fact that we can remove all bias. Right? Esta persona que me miró feo, yo cuando viene a hacer cuando me hace una prueba y yo tengo que revisarla, lo miro diferente, no nos podemos engañar, somos humanos, somos personas humanas, tenemos sentimientos. Entonces, AI tools will definitely get rid of that. We will not have any bias whatsoever. All right? No me importa cómo se ve la persona. The AI tool will do the job, and it will do it no matter what, no matter if it's raining, if I'm tired. AI tools don't get tired. So, you know, the first thing is the fact that there is no bias, and of course, it is independent. By independent, it will do exactly what we tell them to do in an independent and non-biased way. So very important when building these tools, it's, you know, always think about this is some of the benefits that we will get from it. We will get no bias, independent results that, of course, will increase the validity and the reliability of our tools. Okay? La practicalidad. Okay? AI scoring transforms testing with fast result, lower cost, unmatched scalability, ready for any number of test takers. Okay? Of course, una herramienta práctica va a ser una herramienta que todos vamos a utilizar. ¿Cierto? Esta herramienta me ahorra trabajo. I don't need to read papers anymore. I don't need to do face-to-face meetings to test speaking tools, for example. By now, these tools that we build, if they're practical enough, it will be very easy to use and replicate. All right? Of course, no cost involved with having a cell phone, for example, reading the results of our students, okay? And of course, the scalability of it. Probably some of you have heard about English Core. English Core, it's a test that gets done by the cell phone. It's easy to scale because everyone here has a cell phone, correct? Everyone has a cell phone. Students all have smartphones right now. It's part of our lives. So if you think about how these tools can also be easily accessible to students, it will definitely do the job, will help us a lot. ¿Ok? La seguridad, security. Otra parte importante aquí hablamos de la seguridad. ¿Cómo podemos evitar de que los estudiantes hagan cheating con nuestras herramientas de inteligencia artificial? Right? That's number one. Dentro de la inteligencia artificial, aquí me gusta mucho dar ejemplos. Ustedes saben, acá los teléfonos no se escuchan, siempre lo decimos. Nos reunimos un domingo tomando un lonche, empezamos a hablar de que nos queremos ir de viaje a Bogotá, a Cartagena, a Santa Marta. ¿Qué va a pasar en una hora cuando veamos nuestras redes sociales? Las redes sociales llenas de vacaciones a Colombia. Los teléfonos no se escuchan, siempre, eso es algo innegable. Eso, en pocas palabras, es el uso de la inteligencia artificial con fines comerciales. Meta, Instagram, Facebook, nos quiere vender algo. Yo soy una agencia de viajes, yo soy LATAM, yo le pago a Meta para que Meta me posicione en sus celulares cuando ustedes empiecen a hablar de viajes. ¿Ok? Entonces, les comentaba, la inteligencia artificial tiene mucho tiempo ya con nosotros. ¿Ok? Lo que hemos hecho nosotros es de utilizar esas mismas capacidades que nos trae la tecnología, de technology, de cell phones, para agregar layers de seguridad. ¿Ok? Cuando los estudiantes dan la prueba de nosotros, por ejemplo, si claramente yo estoy dando un examen internacional, yo debo estar completamente solo. ¿Ok? Quiero ser pillo, yo soy más inteligente que SENATI y yo voy a hacer que mi novia que está a mi costado me diga las respuestas. Claramente el celular escucha cuando una persona te dice, así sea muy bajito, es la respuesta número 2. Claramente eso se escucha. El teléfono ¿Por qué? Porque la inteligencia artificial se le dio la tarea, cualquier ruido que se haga durante una prueba, estamos totalmente de acuerdo, cuando uno se hace una prueba internacional, no debe haber ningún ruido, there shouldn't be any disturbance in the test. Nosotros le decimos de manera independiente, anónima, inteligencia artificial, cuando se escuche un ruido, grábalo, anótalo y avísanos. Entonces, ¿qué pasa? ¿Cuál es el resultado final? Cuando un proctor humano, un revisor, está revisando el tiempo de la prueba en sí, son 40 minutos una prueba, ya la inteligencia artificial nos avisó, hubo un ruido en el minuto 3, o se escuchó, se vio una segunda persona en la cámara en el minuto 20. El proctor humano, ¿qué ha hecho? ¿Cuál es el resultado? La inteligencia artificial no solamente nos recopila la información, nos avisa cuándo, nos da la evidencia. ¿Ok? Entonces, es una forma muy fácil de explicarles cómo la inteligencia artificial y ese cúmulo de herramientas que existen ahora gracias a la inteligencia artificial pueden hacer que nuestras herramientas sean seguras. Yo lo conozco, me acuerdo, estaba haciendo un proceso de reclutamiento y claramente para evitar lo que preguntaron, ¿cómo podemos evitar de que los estudiantes solamente pongan toda la pregunta en ChatGPT y me dé la respuesta? ¿Ok? Entonces, muy sencillo, yo decidí darle 3 preguntas a los candidatos. ¿Ok? La pregunta, las respuestas, disculpen, ni las leía. Solamente las copiaba, las ponía en una inteligencia artificial que me dice qué porcentaje de la respuesta está hecho por un humano y cuánto está hecho por inteligencia artificial. Ya está. La mitad de los estudiantes, de los candidatos se cayeron. ¿Ok? Pero esas herramientas se pueden adecuar dentro de sus procesos académicos, dentro de sus assessments, para ir identificando qué personas están tratando de pasarse de pillos de inteligentes, ¿ok? Y ustedes pueden adueñarse de esas herramientas, porque incluso yo he visto ya unas universidades en Estados Unidos donde al minuto de la persona hacer el submit del paper, del examen, 100% le va a decir de una vez al estudiante cuánto ya fue hecho por inteligencia artificial. Entonces, es cuestión de identificarla, obviamente manejar la herramienta y agregarla dentro de tu plataforma back office, de tu turnitin.com. Ya todas esas herramientas han venido incorporando la inteligencia artificial. ¿Ok? No solamente el audio, la parte visual. Claramente, todos los celulares, all cell phones have dual cameras right now. Front camera, back camera. Entonces, if I'm doing a test, I have my cell phone here, and someone comes around, what do you think AI is? What do you think you will, if you were doing the test, or if you were building the app, what would you say to the AI? If another person comes around, take a picture of it, right? Take a picture of it and let me know. So I don't need to check the 40 minutes of the test, just exactly those minutes, those moments where someone came through to the app, right? So it's a little bit of common sense, but at the end, the tools are there, las herramientas existen, se pueden utilizar, se pueden programar para que haga el mismo trabajo de una persona. Eso es lo que hemos nosotros demostrado en English Core, que la inteligencia artificial, obviamente con un training, con años y años de perfeccionar el prompt, puede hacer el mismo trabajo que hace un humano. ¿Ok? Flexibility. Creo que aquí es donde estamos todos de acuerdo, la flexibilidad, ¿no? La flexibilidad de las herramientas que nosotros queremos implementar. ¿Ok? Las nuevas generaciones, me quedé sorprendido. New generations are saying, YouTube, it's a tool for all people. YouTube es una herramienta para los tíos. Ya no quieren ver 10 minutos de video, quieren ver un video en 30 segundos en TikTok. Definitivamente hay las tecnologías, las nuevas herramientas, las nuevas metodologías de estudio tienen que ir avanzando con las nuevas tecnologías, con las nuevas generaciones también. Les comenté hace un rato. Con las Wikipedia hace mucho tiempo no era considerado una buena herramienta, ahora lo es. Y esto sigue evolucionando a medida de que se lanzan nuevas herramientas, nuevas plataformas, new AI tools. But at the end, they all come with the same end product, the flexibility of students. Students, you know, probably a lot of you have kids. How good they are with handling the phone by now. 2 years old, they are swiping, looking YouTube and all this. So, you know, de nada sirve armar herramientas que sean computer-based solamente, que no sean flexibles, que sean adaptables a una tablet o a un teléfono móvil, porque a la final, desde mi punto de vista, las computadoras ¿quiénes tienen aquí una computadora en sus casas? Un desktop, correcto. How many people have desktops here? How many have laptops? How many have iPads or tablets? Cell phones? Todos. Tenemos 2, 3, 4, dependiendo del trabajo. Entonces, las herramientas tienen que siempre tener un lado de flexibilidad. La herramienta tiene que ser fácil de llevar de una tablet a un iPad y de un iPad a un celular y de un celular a lo que salga en 10 años. ¿Ok? Si creemos que los celulares se van a mantener como siguen existiendo, estamos mal. Creo que en China ya la gente paga con las manos, o con las huellas digitales. La tecnología en Asia avanza a pasos agigantados. ¿Ok? Feedback. Y esta es la parte más importante que también puede ser beneficiosa con la inteligencia artificial. ¿Ok? La inteligencia artificial puede hacer el trabajo de 50, 100 practicantes así, al toque, instantly. How? By analyzing the data constantly. Okay? We can build tests, we can build tools, but if the tools are not checked, are not controlled, they will be the validity of it will not be there for a long time. Okay? So, constant feedback. We need AI can tell you from the set of students that tested core skills, for example, how well they tested on each of the sub-skills. Listening, reading, grammar, vocabulary. ¿Ok? De una prueba donde simplemente se ve un resultado final, B2, B1, la herramienta te puede dar ese feedback de cómo el estudiante obtuvo el score en cada una de las subhabilidades. Y no solamente lo puede hacer, sino que también dentro de ese set de 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 estudiantes que tomaron la prueba en SENATI, ¿cuál es el punto de mejora, for example? So, within 10,000 students, the skill that needs more emphasis is listening. So the constant feedback of it will actually give you the answer for Cindy and the team to actually reinforce these skills that are needed to improve the programs within SENATI. Okay? So as a summary of this first part, you need to build, no, esta se va. No me gusta. Hagamos ahora un poquito algo para reflexionar. ¿Ok? No, vamos ya, tomen foto. Quienes quieran tomar foto, este es el resumen. El resumen de lo que hemos... Equity, efficiency, security, flexibility, feedback. Estas son las herramientas. Este es el guideline principal de cuando ustedes quieran armar sus propias herramientas con inteligencia artificial, lo que deben considerar. Una herramienta que no tenga bias, que sea justa, eficiente, segura, flexible y con constante feedback del resultado que se obtenga. ¿Ok? Algo para reflexionar. ¿Ok? México, yo siento que México, Ciudad de México y Lima son muy parecidos. Para las personas que lo conocen, quizás estarán de acuerdo conmigo. 2018, México era el último referente en cuanto a la utilización de la inteligencia artificial. 2018. 5 años después, se lanza este índice de inteligencia artificial a nivel global. México, número 5. ¿Ok? Mayo del 2025, México es el líder en Business Driven by AI. ¿Ok? Ellos vieron la oportunidad. Esto es algo que viene con cambios de política. Eso es un tema también se mete el tema de gobierno, sin hablar aquí temas políticos. Pero la oportunidad está. Y como docentes, como profesores, como personas que estamos queriendo dejar algo al mundo, definitivamente tenemos que ir poco a poco adueñándonos de estas herramientas de inteligencia artificial para poder posicionar a Perú, que es lo que todos queremos, como un líder con implementación de inteligencia artificial. ¿Ok? ¿Cómo vemos el futuro de assessments? Aquí yo quiero, en base a lo que les he comentado, ¿dónde ven ustedes que van a llegar los assessments? ¿Qué han pensado? ¿Qué han visto en películas, en teorías conspirativas? ¿De cómo creen que van a llegar cuál va a ser el futuro de los assessments? Ya no hablamos de English assessment en general. ¿A dónde creen que va a llegar? Celular, por ejemplo. Aquí una persona muestra el celular, definitivamente. ¿No? ¿Qué más? ¿Sí? ¿Por qué no? Sí, claro, ya existe. En estos días vi un video en TikTok de creo que era un asiático que había creado una mano artificial y se estaba manejando todo con la mente ya. ¿Sí? ¿Por qué no? ¿Qué más? ¿A dónde ven el futuro de los assessments? Celulares, definitivamente. Presencial, virtual, híbrido. ¿Dónde creen que va a llegar el futuro? ¿Qué le gustan a los estudiantes en la actualidad? Virtual, ¿sí? Todos. Un holograma, ¿sí? Como en las películas, Avengers, estas películas donde, claro, es porque ya eso no existe, pero ya eso es, creo que el tema tecnológico existe, solamente realidad virtual, sí, ya, no sé si han visto que Apple sacó este nuevo juguete que cuesta como $4,000 y es literalmente como realidad virtual y lo que hace es tener como una computadora física y que tú puedes hacer todo y ver tus notas y demás. ¿Algo más? Robots, sí, por supuesto, claro, ya los robots, los drones, por ejemplo, es el caso, el ejemplo específico, ¿no? Los drones. Los drones ya no, sin entrar a temas polémicos, pero ya los drones que están vigilando en estos países con crisis, ya no hay necesidad, ya los pilotos no se exponen. El piloto está desde su casa, está con su pijama, con sus flip-flops, con sus crocs y está haciendo el trabajo, ¿no? De los profesores, ¿cómo creen que va a evolucionar su proceso académico? Un chip, sí, como le digo, en China creo que pagan con una palma de la mano, no te aceptan efectivo. El efectivo tiene también sus días contados, ¿ok? ¿Sí? El efectivo ya todo es un yape, es un PLIN, código QR, ya no existe te voy a dar efectivo. En Europa ya no te quieren aceptar efectivo en los buses, en el transporte público, todo el mundo paga con un Apple Pay. ¿Hace cuántos años? Está la forma de pagar. Antes todo el mundo pagaba con tarjeta y ahora todo es con el celular. Apple Pay, el reloj Apple Pay, ¿sí? Billeteras. Peor negocio, no emprendan en hacer sus billeteras, carteras, porque creo que eso va a morir. Hasta aquí. ¿Alguien tiene alguna consulta, alguna duda, pregunta, inquietud sobre lo que hayamos hablado? Por supuesto, te escucho. Correcto. Sí. Correcto. Sí. Correcto. Claro. Sí. Claro, sí, definitivamente yo creo que lo primero que todos tenemos que hacer es reconocer que la inteligencia artificial vino a quedarse. ¿Ok? La inteligencia artificial no se la va a llevar a ningún lado. ¿Ok? Y yo creo que parte importante para con los alumnos es enseñarles que existen estas herramientas, pero también que esta herramienta no es la solución. ¿Ok? Es un apoyo, pero no va a ser la solución final al problema. ¿Por qué? Porque ustedes como docentes saben que tienen sus herramientas para poder identificar o reconocer si estas herramientas, ese output final fue genuinamente hecho humano o fue hecho por inteligencia artificial. Entonces, creo que lo primero es decir, la inteligencia artificial vino a quedarse, ¿ok? El algoritmo de TikTok funciona muy bien, tú te quedas viendo un video 45 segundos y los siguientes 15 videos es exactamente lo mismo que vistes, ¿ok? La inteligencia artificial lo que hace es, ok, a esta persona, a Javier, le gustó este producto, vamos a darle todo para que se quede en el aplicativo horas y horas y horas, ¿ok? Entonces, primero, sensibilicemos eso. La inteligencia vino a quedarse, hay que aprovecharla, ¿ok? Pero también hay que... estuve en una charla en Belo Horizonte hace como un mes y ya hay muchas universidades que están implementando sus propias políticas de cómo la inteligencia artificial puede ser utilizada por los alumnos. ¿Ok? Todos tenemos políticas, todos sabemos qué nivel, por ejemplo, qué nivel de inglés tenemos para poder graduarnos. A2, B1, B2. ¿Ok? Pero también debería existir políticas internas en las universidades o como ustedes docentes propios, ya no estamos hablando a nivel política universitaria, sino a través de ustedes, de cuál es ese porcentaje de sensibilidad o de cuánto podemos permitir a un estudiante de que se apoye de las herramientas de inteligencia artificial. ¿Okay? Decirle a un estudiante al día de hoy, agarra esta enciclopedia y busca la respuesta de qué es la inteligencia artificial, por ejemplo, no tiene sentido, ¿no? La inteligencia artificial puede decirte cuál es, pero nuestro trabajo es cómo podemos hacer el assessment de que el estudiante ya sabe, entiende y reconoce qué es la inteligencia artificial. ¿Okay? Entonces es ese balance, ¿no? Puedes utilizar las herramientas de inteligencia artificial para poder obtener la información, pero cómo asegurarnos de que eso que le hemos solicitado al estudiante ya le quede a él como conocimiento general. Ese es. Yo creo que ese es, obviamente para eso hay ejercicios, hay políticas que se pueden implementar para que reglas claras del juego, ¿no? Tú vas a aprender, tú vas a utilizar las herramientas, puedes utilizar estas herramientas, puede tener tanto porque incluso estas herramientas que le comento, donde uno coloca el texto y puede ver qué porcentaje del output final es hecho por AI y cuánto es humano. Entonces uno puede decir, bueno, yo voy a aceptar que 50% sea hecho por humano y 50% por inteligencia artificial. Con esta herramienta fija que es, entonces ya al estudiante le va a tocar, si bien se le permite la inteligencia artificial le haga un resumen, ¿ok? Él va a tener que de todas maneras incluir parte humana en esa respuesta. Tú agarras el producto final, lo vas a correr en otra inteligencia artificial y vas a ver si cumple dentro de los parámetros que ustedes le están permitiendo. ¿Alguna otra pregunta? ¿No? Parece que sí. Sí, claro. Correcto, correcto. Sí, claro.
Hacer que tengamos que nosotros comprender, ¿no? Como dice usted, tratemos de insertar qué es, ¿no?
Claro.
Y eso me hace recordar mucho ese cambio del QPro, FoxPro, se pasó al Excel, al Word, etcétera, y ahora, pues, ¿no? Tenemos muchas herramientas en ese aspecto. Eso quería comentar.
No, sí.
Recordar mucho, sí.
Es muy cierto, es muy cierto. Ahorita en la siguiente parte de la presentación, luego del slide, voy a hablar un poco más de cómo han venido evolucionando los exámenes, ¿no? Hace muchos años los exámenes eran papel y lápiz, ya la gente casi que no escribe, ¿no? Papel y lápiz, pasamos a laboratorios con computadores de esos bien grandotes, luego hemos ido avanzando a centros de testeo y ahorita estamos ya a un tema casi que teléfono móvil, ¿no? Se puede hacer unas pruebas. Entonces sí, definitivamente la inteligencia artificial acelera este proceso. Muchas personas ya ni siquiera están usando Google, ¿ok? Ya busco enfrente de la pregunta y me sale la respuesta hecha por inteligencia artificial. ¿Ok? Entonces, sí, definitivamente, por eso les hice la pregunta, ¿dónde creen que va a llegar sus assessments? ¿Dónde va a llegar el proceso académico? ¿Cómo va a evolucionar la educación en unos años? Sí, o sea, no me extrañaría, pero yo creo que siempre va a existir ese... Los drones tienen muchos años ya, los drones tienen por lo menos más de 10 años, y nunca se han podido quitar a los pilotos de encima. Entonces, cuando dicen la inteligencia artificial se va a llevar nuestros trabajos, yo no creo en eso. Porque siempre va a haber una persona detrás para que pueda, que la administre, que la sepa manejar. Entonces, por eso, a la pregunta de tu compañera, definitivamente hay que aceptarlas, adueñarse de ellas, saber manejarlas, que no es tan complicado tampoco. Me he dado cuenta que a medida de que uno va entrando, obviamente necesita como toda habilidad necesita de tiempo. Pero luego de que tú ya te adueñas de esa herramienta, la sabes manejar, sabes sus pros, como dijo Michelle, todas las herramientas tienen sus cosas buenas y sus cosas malas. No existe la perfección. El que me sepa definir la perfección, que me diga. La perfección nunca va a existir. ¿Ok? Pero, sí, la educación va a evolucionar, las herramientas evolucionan, las generaciones evolucionan y tenemos que mantenernos en constante actualización. Porque si no, créanme que ahí sí es donde nos quedamos sin chamba todos. ¿Alguna otra pregunta? Me parece que no. Entonces creo que hay un break, sí, de 15 minutos y ya luego nos vemos a la siguiente parte. Sí, gracias.
que puedan recibir algunas sorpresas. ¿Sí? Vamos a esperar que puedan ingresar. Puedan tomar asiento, por favor, para seguir con la ponencia. En este primer Congreso Internacional de Idiomas del SENATI, ¿listo? Tomamos asiento, por favor. Los dejo nuevamente con el señor Javier Carreño. Lo recibimos con fuertes aplausos nuevamente, por favor. Gracias.
Perfecto, ¿me escuchan bien? Sí. Bueno, como resumen, hasta ahorita de parte del British Council, importancia del inglés con las inteligencias artificiales, qué necesitamos considerar para poder crear nuestras propias metodologías, nuestras propias herramientas de aprendizaje con inteligencia artificial. Y ahora vamos a hablar de la parte más práctica. Vamos, cómo se puede ver esto en acción. ¿Ok? Entonces, setting the scene. Evolution of test taking in the past. Aquí lo hablamos ahorita hace un poco en la presentación anterior. Cómo ha ido evolucionando así como evolucionan las tecnologías, evolucionan las herramientas, cómo ha ido evolucionando los exámenes a nivel global. ¿Ok? Todos empezamos aquí tomando exámenes a papel y lápiz, ¿cierto? Tocaba hacer unos essays de 500 palabras, contarlas. Claramente así iniciamos, luego se incorporan las herramientas radio, para listening se implementó, ponían un cassette, luego fue un CD, videos de YouTube ahora, pero pasamos de papel y lápiz a incluir audio, luego se migró, hubo un gran salto hacia lo que son assessment a través de computadores. ¿Okay? ¿Alguien se acuerda cuando tomó su primer examen en una computadora? Probablemente sí, yo me acuerdo, claro. Pero una cosa era practicar, otra cosa era el primer examen donde salió un score final. ¿Ok? Y poco a poco, con este boom de la inteligencia artificial, claramente hemos ido migrando de computadores y ahora se pueden habilitar assessment a través de otras herramientas. Teléfonos celulares siendo una de ellas con los ejemplos prácticos que le he comentado anteriormente. ¿Ok? De nuevo, what AI solutions are you currently using? Gemini, hablamos de ChatGPT, ¿qué otra herramienta, por favor? Copilot, correcto. Gemini. Mónica. ¿Qué hace Mónica? Ok. So like the WhatsApp one. So Mónica. So she's always looking around. Is she toxic? No. Just kidding. But other tools. Claude. Okay, perfect. Any other one? DeepSeek, sí. Muy buena. I like that one a lot. Aquí, here's other examples of tools that have already AI. So if you don't know, you probably know by now. All this AI, Grammarly, Canva, Uber. You know, I was reading about Uber and how in some countries they will increase the price of your fare if you're running out of battery, right? When there's a lot of people, there's a lot of traffic, they raise the prices, but that's done with AI. Instead of having 10, 20 interns, practicantes, checking what's happening with the app, the AI does it for you. Any other tool? Finally, Spotify. Okay. Oh, okay. Wow. I like that. What's the name of it? Califica. Very nice. So yeah, Califica. I used one. I was playing around with AI. Someone was asking me, Teachy? Yeah, nice, Teach. I haven't heard about it, but tell me a little bit more about what Teachy does. What it does. Teachy, how does it work? What it does for you? Okay. Okay, nice. I once used a tool that it would effectively do sort of the branding of a company. So you would literally, with a prompt, you would say, I want to build an academy that teaches English in the Peruvian market. My specific clients will be age 20 to 40. So you will give them all these details, and it would effectively create not only the branding side, the arts of it, when you should post something on Instagram, when do you post it on LinkedIn, and it would actually do it for you. Of course, these are paid tools, of course, but yeah, AI can do a lot of things for us, okay? Canva, for example, it's a Photoshop with AI combined. So you don't have to learn how to do a specific arrangements with arts. It would actually just do it with the click of a hand. So yeah, if someone finds a new tool with AI, they can get something from Senati. So anyone that can give me another tool that hasn't been discussed, Magic School? That's the one with the for forums, right? Okay. Speechify. Into a test. Oh, okay. So, it's it would do the script and the voiceover as well. I think it's called. There's one for voiceovers as well. You would put the text, and then it would actually. You could do a voice from Europe, from Peru, Argentina, Spain. So yeah, a lot of tools coming from AI, doing our job easier, making easier to adapt to students from not only Peru, from across the globe, as it's easier to provide readings and listenings from the actual language that you know, and not a very Peruvian accent, for example. Okay? Quizás aquí vamos un poquito atrás. ¿Qué es inteligencia artificial? Why and how? What is AI? All right? Anyone knows what AI is without reading here? ¿Cómo definirían qué es la inteligencia artificial? En palabras sencillas. ¿Cómo lo definirían? Una herramienta. Ok. Ahorro de tiempo, herramienta. Herramienta, ahorro de tiempo, ¿correcto? ¿Algo más? Ok, recopilación de datos. Definición técnica de AI, the capability of machines to imitate human thinking and decision-making process. Okay? Capability of machines to imitate human thinking and decision-making process. En efecto, tenemos muchos humanos analizando la información, podemos ahorrar tiempo, podemos analizar mucha data, pero la inteligencia artificial puede hacerlo mucho más rápido. ¿Ok? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué nace la inteligencia artificial? Facilitarnos la vida. Make our lives easier. That's the main reason of it. It was built to assist and empower humans and making sure or helping us to get rid of tasks that anyone can do for us. I said it before, I think of AI as a practicante, as an intern that's doing some very clerical work for me. But if I need to present something to my boss, would you let an intern, a practicante, give you the answer? Probably not, right? You would not. You would fact check it. You would review every single word that the intern gives you, and then you will present it and take the credit for it, right? How? ¿Cómo funciona la inteligencia artificial? Aquí no los voy a hacer adivinar. La inteligencia artificial, en efecto, lo que hace es constantemente analizar y revisar una gran set de data, big set of data, in a short period of time, and gives you the end result. You have an Excel with 50,000 lines of data. A practicante can do it for you. It will take them hours, lots of hours, right? AI can do it, same task, on a very quick and inexpensive manner. So AI works by processing vast amount of data through algorithms, learning from patterns, Spotify, Apple TV, Netflix. Basically what they do is they learn about our behavior to try to predict what's gonna be our next move, okay? And refining its decision based on feedback, much like humans learn from experience. I was talking to someone about how Meta will put exactly what we want or what we need, all right? I need a new laundromat, a new refrigerator, for example, okay? I go to Google, first thing we all do, Google, nevera Samsung, refrigeradora Samsung, right? And then you would then go to Saga because you know that Saga has better pricing than Ripley maybe, or you will go to Curaçao and you will start to find the best pricing, correct? So if all of us 39, 40 that we're here, we will do that same research, refrigeradora Samsung, go to Saga, go to Ripley until we find the best pricing, correct? The AI will understand that pattern, and for the next person that will do the research, it will give them that specific end product, the end detail. So Saga has the best pricing. So if I'm Meta and I wanna throw you the end result, which is Saga has the best Samsung prices, the ad that you will find on Instagram most probably is going to be from Samsung with a mix of Saga. So this can be done by a human, yep, but the refining process takes time, right? Because a practicante will need to do 40 times that research from each individual person. It will take them 10 minutes per person, that's 400 minutes, whereas AI does it automatically, okay? So that's a very quick and easy introduction to what AI is all about, okay? So I'm gonna talk a little bit here about, as I said, I promise, the end product. You know, after considering all those steps, the flexibility, the reliability of a tool, how it can look up on the real world, all right? So incorporating AI in our approach to quality assessment, first one, it's using machine learning and data-driven approach to analyze our assessment, All right? Lo dije la otra vez, hacer un assessment es fácil. Todos podemos crear con los distintos aplicativos una lista de 10 preguntas para medir el conocimiento de gramática de un alumno. ¿Ok? Los alumnos the students would then do the test, right? You will have now, if it's 100 students, you will have 1,000 answers. All right? Imagine if we need to fact check each answer and make sure that they are all valid. Meaning, if I do a test, you all know, if we do a test and 100% of the students have the right answer, probably we need to fact check that question. If we go to the other scenario, the other hand, which is I build a question and 100% of my students have it wrong. It's probably not the students, it probably are questions. So AI does it automatically. It will do that research. As you start having more students, you will be able to see the end result. You will be able to define, podrán definir, ver exactamente cuál es el score de todas las preguntas que tienen y cuáles deberían tener una revisión. ¿Ok? La prueba de English Core, por ejemplo, nosotros tenemos más de 11 millones de test takers. Sabemos cuáles son los percentiles de cada pregunta. Si alguna de esas preguntas se sale del percentile, further review from a human, porque inteligencia artificial would not do that for us, and then we can fact check it, we can review it, get rid of the question, rehacer la pregunta para que vuelva a entrar dentro de los percentiles aceptados. ¿Ok? También las preguntas, hacemos este examen de 10 preguntas y ¿qué va a pasar? Poco a poco, a medida que más estudiantes van haciendo las preguntas, se empiezan a pasar las respuestas. ¿Cierto? Pasa mucho. Y luego están afuera vendiéndote la canchita, vendiéndote la gaseosa y vendiéndote las respuestas. Pasa. Es normal. Entonces, la inteligencia artificial nos ayuda a que la rotación de preguntas sea por patrones, por horarios, por personas, por códigos, por sedes, para que estas no se repitan. Entonces, nos ayuda de cierta manera a guardar la integridad del banco de preguntas de la prueba. Y esto es algo muy importante que ustedes también deben considerar. Porque si no, todo el trabajo que hicimos en analizar la información, hacer la lista de 10 preguntas, habrá valido nada. Porque si los estudiantes tienen las respuestas ahí afuera, van a entrar, van a decir, ya, yo soy más inteligente que SENATI. Entonces, no lo queremos. Entonces, el algoritmo de nosotros, así como Spotify lo utiliza para recomendarte las canciones que más te van a gustar, Netflix para las películas, we use it, but to make sure that the bank of questions stays solid, stays valid, and it's not easy to replicate. Okay? Protecting security using the power of AI. Okay? Les hablé un poco sobre el proctoring, la parte muy importante de las pruebas, ¿no? Hablamos cómo empezaron las pruebas, era un examen en papel y lápiz y el teacher will be on the room watching everyone to make sure that they're not copying each other, right? Okay? Why not let that to AI? Because I think we can do it. We've done it, all right? So you would see a video here, all right? For example, of how we use the proctoring with AI, all right? The person is doing the test. Now it's saying you are too far away. El examen se detiene y le dice puedes continuar la prueba. Tu cara no está visible. ¿Ustedes harían que alguien dé la prueba si no está visible en la pantalla? Probablemente no, ¿cierto? Entonces, en pocas palabras, ciertas acciones que se den durante la prueba va a activar que la inteligencia artificial detenga la prueba. ¿Ok? Detén la prueba y lo que les había dicho también en la última presentación, son 40 minutos de prueba, pero yo sé que en el minuto 39 la persona se alejó de la prueba. ¿Qué va a hacer el proctor humano? Porque siempre tiene que haber un proctor humano. Va a revisar qué pasó en el minuto 39:22. ¿Ok? Pero esto no es todo. Este es solamente un ejemplo. Se escuchan las voces de las personas. Uno está tomando un examen, no debería haber ruido. Si alguien habla, se escucha, se toma nota, se revisa la grabación luego. ¿Ok? Otra que es una realidad, for the students, for example, it's easy to do screenshots. What we do now, we all do screenshots, send it to ChatGPT, BART, Gemini, whichever tool we have. We don't even want to write anymore, right? We just send screenshot, send it to AI, AI will read it for us and will give you the answer, right? Something that we did, because we saw that it was happening. I don't know if you tried to do a screenshot of WhatsApp picture now. It's not possible, right? It comes out blocked. We did the same. So if someone tries to take a picture of the question so they can start building the set of questions, we block it. So the screenshot gets white and the question from the student gets automatically deleted. That question is no longer valid. We can do that on a paper-based test, right? Here, I take a screenshot, I think I know this answer, but that question is no longer valid, right? You repeat it, and we let you know, hey, you did a screenshot, screenshots are not allowed. You do it again, we give you a second warning, third one, the exam gets abandoned. It's not longer valid, you need to retake the test. Okay? Face detection technology, of course, we all know what's a person, because we need to teach AI, what's a person, what's the definition of a person? A person is someone that has a round face, has two eyes, it has a mouth, right? So, by teaching AI, by teaching the technology, what a person should look like, it helps us, enables us that whenever someone with the same characteristics, in a way, another person with two eyes and a mouth will come to your test, it will make that note, it will take pictures of it. Okay? Using AI to produce reliable score, all right? Here, what we can, we said it before, it's been 11 million test takers since we launched the company. What is happening, or what we've done since we launched the company back in 2019, is to train the AI, because AI gets we all know AI, it's all about the prompt, it's all about how we teach and how we train AI. So it took us almost 3 years just to be able to allow AI to properly test the speaking and the writing section of our test. Okay? So by now, AI can do a better job than a human to grade the speaking and the writing section of our exam. Okay? Of course, this was not something that we did one day or the other. This was something that took years and years and years, lot of exams, lot of repetitions. All right? But, you saw that video that Michelle shared. AI, what it did was recognize a voice, a language, and then it would translate it into another one, right? So why not let AI also review a test specifically based on some characteristics, based on some prompts that we do a test? So again, this is something that's how, after considering the reliability, the flexibility, the constant feedback of the test, of course, AI can also hear and review voices, it can review papers, it can review all these aspects of a test, of a normal test, to properly make our life easier at the end, right? I think this is what, I think we can all agree, AI comes here to give us a new set of tools, make our job easier in a way, comes with other challenges. We need to figure out and tackle how we're gonna let students to effectively know that AI, we know that they can use AI, but we know that, we have some set of rules. That's something very important. So yeah, this is a little bit of my conclusion of this speech. Accurate and reliable test based on constantly reviewing the bank of questions, then using AI to give the security, the proctoring of the test. El vigilante ya no tiene que ser un profesor, puede ser la inteligencia artificial. Y claramente, ¿por qué no dejar entrenar a la inteligencia artificial para que dé el resultado final? ¿Ok? A la final, la pronunciación, la claridad del mensaje, todo eso lo puede identificar fácilmente la inteligencia artificial. Entonces, para ir cerrando, ¿tienen aquí alguna pregunta, quizás? Sí, por supuesto. ¿Correcto? ¿Sí? Sí. Un dolor de cabeza. Los entrevistas 1 a 1, con 50 estudiantes es manejable, pero pongámosles 2 ceros, con 500 estudiantes, con 5.000 estudiantes. En realidad, como yo lo veo, es liberarles trabajo a ustedes para que ustedes puedan tener tiempo para aprender de nuevas tecnologías y de temas que le agreguen más valor a ustedes. ¿Para qué? O sea, ¿cuánto les demorará? Pero eso debería afectar el nivel de inglés que tiene el alumno, ¿o no? ¿Cierto? ¿Cierto? O sea, una cosa es, aquí no estamos evaluando people skills, estamos evaluando es el nivel de inglés de un estudiante. Ah, claro, sí, tiene que hablar con... Pero ya, ok, el IELTS lo hace, el TOEFL no lo hace. El TOEFL, el speaking, es con la computadora. Tú estás hablándole a una persona y lo que hace la persona es escuchar la grabación. Correcto. Claro, una cosa es el resultado. O sea, yo puedo tomar una prueba con mi novia al lado y saco un C1. ¿Pero va a ser válida el examen? No. ¿Por qué? Porque siempre hay un proctor humano y el proctor humano va a ver que en el minuto 15 mi novia me habló. ¿Me entiendes? Entonces, ya ese examen, por más que ya haya sacado un C1, va a ser no válido. Claro, es que como que tú tomes una prueba y te copies el 100%. Y el proctor, el vigilante, te vio. ¿Qué va a hacer con la prueba? Perfecto, sí, sacaste todo 100, un 100, un 10, y luego no válido te copias. Yes. Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And here, this is what I always come to. It's the fact that it would depend the end use of the test. I learned that there's so many tests for different sort of uses. I mean, for example, if I take the IELTS test, it's because I want to go abroad, and I need to be a certified student that can have a specific set of skills to be a good candidate in an MBA program, for example. Someone that I would add value of it. Cambridge exams, for example, some of them are more driven to teachers like yourselves, which also, it's a very different set of skills that English core. English core is more driven to the employability market. The set of skills of English, it is the same language, it is the same process of learning the language, but at the end, it's all about the end use of the test. Correct, yes. Yeah, correct, yeah. Yes, yes, but we've seen that, we know that newer generations are born with a phone in their hands. They do everything on a phone. So, if English exams do not evolve with the newer generations, then probably there won't be any market for it in the future. Just to give everyone that came and listened to me for an hour, we've spoken with SENATI, and we're going to let everyone that wishes to get an English course certificate for free to do so. All right? So we've enabled this code. It's very simple. All you need to do is just to download the app, whether if it's a iOS or an Android cell phone. All right? And when everyone took pictures of it? Yeah? No? ¿Ok? Sí, es muy sencillo, descargan el aplicativo, ese es el código que les va a pedir la prueba para poder dar la prueba, para poder certificarlo, ¿ok? Descargan el app, se crean su cuenta, les va a pedir un código, colocan el código SENATI-0825, nombre, apellido, y van a poder dar su examen para que puedan al menos saber cómo están actualmente según English Core. ¿Ok? Hemos hecho algo también importante ya, es de que lo hemos habilitado para medir las 4 habilidades. ¿Ok? Entonces van a poder hacerlo para el core skill, van a poder hacerlo para el speaking y para el writing, para que todo lo que hemos hablado lo puedan también ver en la práctica. ¿Ok? Entonces, muchas gracias.
Muchísimas gracias, Javier. Ahora, para cerrar con las ponencias y cerrar este primer Congreso Internacional de Idiomas, voy a presentar al último ponente. Él es un educador y gestor de formación con más de una década de experiencia en educación internacional y desarrollo docente. Posee una maestría en lingüística románica por la Universidad de Georgia y una licenciatura en educación por la Universidad Nacional de Trujillo. Actualmente se desempeña como gestor de formación en el Cuerpo de Paz del Perú y examinador de bachillerato internacional. Es reconocido por sus contribuciones a la formación docente, el diseño instruccional innovador y a las estrategias de aprendizaje activo. Ya ha impartido conferencias magistrales y talleres en Latinoamérica, Estados Unidos y Europa. Invito adelante, con un fuerte aplauso de ustedes, al señor Enrique Liñán Saavedra.
Okay. Hello, hi everyone. Good afternoon. I'm a little bit under the weather, so bear with me if like my voice is not the best. Okay, I've been feeling a little bit. You know, it's like everyone says that like when the weather changes, we're all feeling like kind of sick. So I've been feeling a little bit like that. So hopefully it'll be fine today. Okay, and I'm like not close to you, so don't worry about that. I'm not gonna pass it down to you. All right, so we're gonna get started with our presentation today. I have, let me see if you've been talking about AI and I love using Prezi with AI. Have you used it before? Have you used Prezi and the AI that Prezi has? You have? Prezi AI? It's super cool because you basically just type down the ideas that you have, and then Prezi will create a presentation for you. And then of course you can change it, you can make modifications, whatever you want to do. So we're gonna let's see if this works. Yes, it does. Okay, so let's start talking a little bit about myself, okay? Let's talk about me, because I wanted you to get to know me so that we can talk a little bit about standardized testing and some of these tests. So as you heard, I have a BA in education from Universidad Nacional de Trujillo. I'm a proud Trujillano, okay? Then I went to the US and I got a master's degree at the University of Georgia in linguistics. I did a research on second language acquisition and basically teaching Spanish and French. I'm currently a teacher trainer. That's why I'm here working with you, but I have a full-time job. When I'm not training teachers, I'm usually working with volunteers from the United States. I work for the US government. There's this organization called Peace Corps, and that's my full-time job. I'm the training manager for Peace Corps. Of course, I'm a lifelong learner. I love learning. I love reading and learning new things. I don't use TikTok because that's too tempting. It's like an addiction, right? So I don't use TikTok. I try not to, but I like to learn new things. And I'm also a leading English language testing specialist. I'm an official testing specialist for some of these tests, and I wanted you to guess. First, I want you to guess which tests I have taken. What do you think? All of them? Not all of them, not all of them, no. The IELTS? No, I've never taken the IELTS, no. But I used to be an official IELTS examiner. Some of you were discussing the IELTS and how IELTS still keeps the in-person speaking test, right? So I was an official examiner for IELTS. I would interview people and I would determine what the language level was in English, okay? So I used to be, not anymore. What else? Yes, I did. Of course, I took the Cambridge exams, right? Like the CAE, the Cambridge Advanced. What else? The TOEFL, yes, I did have to take the TOEFL for my master's degree. Actually, that was it was interesting because I got a really high score. I got 116 on the TOEFL test out of 120. Yeah, because I used to prepare students for the TOEFL. So I was a trainer for the TOEFL, and then I had to take it myself. And when you're a trainer, it's easier because you know the test questions. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. What else? The ECP, yeah, that was one of the first tests I took on paper back in the day. Has any of you taken the ECP? No, it's not that popular anymore, I guess. I used to be back in the day. That was a C2 level, the highest level for the Michigan examinations, and then they were bought by Cambridge. Now Cambridge owns ECP. What else? The GRE I had to take, that's the one that I hated, because it's not only about English, it's verbal reasoning, it's also math, reasoning, and writing and composition. It was awful. Especially for the math. The math skills, I'm really bad at that. Like most things. Are you all English teachers? Yes? Do you like math? Raise your hand if you like math. Awesome. Great. Great. That's great. That's great. I normally don't come across a lot of people who like, a lot of teachers of English who like math, but I'm happy for you. Okay. And then finally, I've never taken any IB papers, but I am an official examiner for IB. It's interesting because in the age of AI, there's still international baccalaureate. They still use humans like me to grade the tests for their students. Yes, so we're not losing our jobs, don't worry. Not yet, not yet. So I get paid by IB, and what I do is I listen to the interviews that teachers in schools do, and I grade them. And then I also read their essays that students write, and I grade them. So it's a second rating. Are you familiar with IB? Bachillerato Internacional, ¿han escuchado? No? No? Yes, you have? Yes? So, yeah. So a lot of, usually private schools have it. Yes, private. So what IB does is they have like an international curriculum for all students around the world. And the schools that decide to adopt this curriculum, they need to make sure that students follow the curriculum and they are tested on that specific curriculum, on the topics. Mostly private schools, those rich schools, super expensive schools, have it. Also, COAR, Colegio de Alto Rendimiento, yes, COARs also have that. So I'm an official examiner. I don't work at any of those schools, but I'm an examiner for those tests, okay? They're pretty interesting. All right, so let's move on to our session for today. For the next hour, we're going to be talking about standardized testing and some of the challenges that we have with that. So we're going to start with a visualization. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes if you want to. If you don't want to, it's okay. If you want to, please. And if you want to take a nap, it's okay as well. I know it's been a long day. So close your eyes, and I'm going to walk you through a visualization exercise, okay? So close your eyes. Imagine the last time you had to take a test. Imagine the last time you had to take a test. Just the last time, okay? Imagine, close your eyes, yes. Imagine the last time you had to take a test. Any test, any like English test, or maybe a math test, maybe a knowledge test, a test. Think about how you were feeling. What emotions came up? Were you feeling scared? Were you feeling nervous? Were you feeling anxious? Were you feeling excited? Think about the people that were around you. Were there a lot of people? Were you by yourself? Think about the place. Where were you? Were you in a classroom? Were you at home? Were you at a language center? Were you in a big auditorium? Think about the test itself. Was it hard? Was it easy? Were there a lot of questions? Were there a few questions? Now, think about the time when you were done with the test, when you finished the test. How did you feel then? All right, you can open your eyes now. And if you were taking a nap, it's okay. Now it's time to wake up, okay? All right, so think about, like, I asked you to recall an experience when you were taking a test, right? Now I want you to discuss these two questions with someone who's sitting next to you. How did you feel during the visualization exercise? What emotions, did you feel? And how do you think your learners feel when they are taking a test or when they have to take a test? Please talk to the person next to you, and let's discuss for 1 minute, okay? Please, go ahead. All right, okay. Can I have someone share. Does anyone want to share how they felt or the discussions they had? And I know that, you can do it in English, we can do it in Spanish, we can do it in French, we can do it in German, right? Good. Okay, so podemos participar. Lo importante es participar y conversar y aprender, okay? Y compartir más que todo, okay? Anyone who would like to participate? Yes, you, ma'am. Yes. That's the rule. Yes, and you'll go. Please.
Okay. Okay. I'm Stephanie Herrera. First, anxious. I was anxious, worried. I was nervous, shaking, headache. But at the end, it was just okay. It was done.
Okay. So great. Thank you. There in the back, yes. We have someone else who wanted to participate. Yes.
Well, in my case, I was. I can say I was comfortable because I was waiting for that exam for a very long time, but I didn't have the time. I was for international exam, and at the same time I was studying another career, and so my directions or my priority at the time was also my career, my other career, but I felt like I had to take the exam. I felt very comfortable, and I knew about my knowledge, so that's why I was so relaxed. But I can say something that is very maybe enjoyable or maybe funny, but I fall asleep in the middle, during the text. And so for about 5 or 10 minutes, I think, the examiner told me, so the time's gonna be over. And I said, oh my God, and I had to complete it. And so in those few minutes, I had to check it out so very fast. And I finally ended the test. And so I had to wait for 2 months for the results. And of course, I passed the exams.
Thank you. Great. Yes. That happens sometimes, right? Like sometimes you fall asleep during the test. Has it happened to you? Did you fall asleep during the test? Yes, I see a lot of heads nodding. Okay, last one here.
Hi. I felt relaxed. Tanto así que pensaron que estaba copiando, creo. Vinieron dos visualizadores. Aquí, uno a la izquierda y otro a la derecha. Yo estaba tan relaxed. Y tanto así que I was hungry. Y pedí permiso, ¿no? Le dije si podía comer mi galletita que estaba en mi bolsillo. Me dijeron, bueno, sí, maestra, no hay problema. Y bueno, eran 2 horas y media casi de examen, un examen nacional que tuve. Y o sea, traté de estar lo más relajada posible y aprobé con buen puntaje, felizmente.
¿Cuál? ¿El examen de nombramiento? El nombramiento, excellent. I was also a trainer for that. I used to train teachers for the nombramiento. Yo también he trabajado con docentes en nombramiento y ascenso en los exámenes, justamente. Y sí, claro, es largo el examen, ¿no? Pero si uno ya sabe, maneja las preguntas, el tipo de preguntas, avanzas. Ok, aquí, para finalizar.
Well, what I recall of the last test I took was like last semester to move on to the 6th semester. Well, one of the courses, and I was like feeling a bit nervous because I had revised like for the test a few hours ago, and so I was confident out of my I was prepared for the test, but I was at the same time I was like at the beginning unsure of what questions would be on the exam, and so at the beginning I was like a bit nervous, or perhaps I could say like like unsure of my score, how my score is gonna be. Like, I started to think about that, but then in the end I started to remember all that I had revised previously, and so I was like confident, and then I finished it, and I got a good grade in the end.
Thank you. Thank you. And really the important thing about testing is the attitude that you have towards testing. So that's something we're going to discuss today, the attitude that you have towards testing. Because probably when you were kids and you got a bad grade, what did your parents tell you? Were they happy that you didn't get a good grade? When you told your parents, like, Mom, I got a 10, I got a 5, a 6, were they happy? What was their reaction? Your parents didn't care, so that's why you were now uncomfortable. But it's all about our parents. I mean, that's like a whole different conversation, right? But a lot of times it has to do with that. Exactly. They're probably going to be strict with you. Yes. Exactly, yeah. At the end of the day, the important thing is like just, how much you learn and how much you actually can use it. Okay, we're going to do an activity right now. Can you get your phones out? Do you have your phones? Can you scan this QR code? Yes, can everybody scan this QR code, if you will, please? I'm going to try to make it bigger. If you have access to this Padlet on the QR code, if you can use, do you have your phone? Okay, it's okay. I know some people don't have batteries, it's okay. If you can, that's great. If you cannot, it's fine. Is it working? Yes? Do we have people scanning the QR? Okay, great. Okay, so we have 4 questions there for you to answer. Okay? It's a Padlet. Have you used Padlet before? Probably you have. Yes. I love it because it allows you to like create a lot. Did you know that Padlet also uses AI? Yes, of course. And you can, today I discovered that you can actually create rubrics for your classroom. You can tell Padlet what you want to test, and Padlet will create rubrics from 1 to 4 for different categories for your students. That's amazing. Yeah. Okay, so Padlet, 4 questions. This is called a compass activity. It's because I know that you know about tests. I'm not going to teach you anything new about tests. We're just going to have conversations about it. But I want to know how much you know and what you want to know about testing. So I have 4 questions for you. If you open the Padlet, were you able to open the Padlet? Yes? Did you scan it? Okay, so there's 4 questions. The first question says, what do you need to know? What do you want to find out about standardized testing or test-taking skills? A question. ¿Qué preguntas tenemos sobre este tema? Sobre el tema de exámenes estandarizados, exámenes internacionales o sobre habilidades para tomar exámenes. ¿Qué preguntas tenemos? Pueden ponerlas en español, en inglés, en francés, si vous voulez, any language, okay? What are you excited about? ¿Qué cosas nos gustan sobre los exámenes estandarizados o los exámenes internacionales? ¿Qué cosas nos gustan? ¿Qué cosas nos emocionan? ¿Qué cosas es what are the things that you really like about testing? What are some concerns that you have? What are some things that worry you about standardized testing? ¿Qué les preocupa sobre estos exámenes? ¿Les preocupa el tiempo? ¿Les preocupa la habilidad de que mi alumno se va a copiar porque puede hacerlo en su computadora, en su celular? ¿Qué sugerencias tengo? What are my own strategies for using standardized testing or for test-taking skills? What suggestions do you have? ¿Qué sugerencias tengo yo como docente en mi práctica? ¿Cómo he utilizado estos exámenes como ayuda a mis alumnos para poder tomar estos exámenes? So 4 questions. You can write 1 word or 2 words, okay? You can write in Spanish, in English, like I said, any language, okay? So what do you need to know? What are you excited about? What are you worried about? And what suggestions do you have? Esta es una actividad que pueden replicar con cualquier materia, se llama el compass o la brújula, porque si se dan cuenta tiene norte, sur, este, o en inglés es oeste, but it's north, south, east, and west, and then you can call it a compass activity. It's to measure how much people know or how people are feeling about a specific topic. Okay? All right, let's look at let's find out what you just replied and see. Okay, here we go. Thank you. I see some answers here. Okay, let's see some of your answers. Okay, the format, yes. The costs, thank you. I have some replies here, thank you. Objectives, the format, the cost. objectives. What are the Cambridge speaking tests like now? Are they face-to-face anymore? Like to know exactly how to tackle the tasks, especially reading and listening, okay? Strategies, okay? We're going to discuss some of these, not at that level, but a lot of the answers to these questions you can find online as well. Okay, what are you excited about? Let's see. Learning how to assess, motivation and opportunities, my level of abilities, motivation. You can trust in your own knowledge. If you know how to take it, you pass. Job opportunities. What excites me is to know how much knowledge I have. Yes, it's a good way to test your English language skills, right? La preparación, cuánto tiempo debe ser. Okay. Strategies, we're going to learn some of that. I'd like to know exactly how to tackle the tasks. Yes, we already read that one. Okay, what things you're worried about? Let's see. Nowadays, there's AI, so authentication is difficult. How can I cope with this? Great tool, use of AI, and time. That worries you. Yes. And we should not be afraid of AI. The other day, I had this conversation with a teacher from El Británico, and she told me that they are forcing teachers to use AI in the class. But it's interesting because if you realize a lot of tools now have AI, but maybe teachers don't know that it has AI, like Spotify, for example. You're using Spotify to play a song in your class, you're also using AI. But a lot of times people are like, oh, I don't want to use AI because I don't know what it is like. Or people are scared that, it's going to take over your jobs. But at the end of the day, it's just a tool. Como todo lo que ha venido en el tiempo, ¿verdad? So we can use it to our advantage. Okay, what suggestions do you have? Let's see, I have one suggestion here. Test taking authentication, authenticity, or writing paper. Okay, what else do we have? Any other suggestions for using standardized testing? How do you use standardized testing in your class? A ver, dice, me preocupa que hay estudiantes con un buen nivel de idioma por falta de autoconfianza desaprueban el examen y no aprueban dichos exámenes que terminan por... Sí, es verdad. A veces esa es otra parte, la parte emocional, no solo la parte cognitiva es importante, ¿no? Eso es lo que vamos a conversar en un ratito. Ok, pasamos. Vamos a avanzar, de ahí vamos a regresar aquí para ver más de sus respuestas. All right. Ok, two concepts that I wanted to discuss with you. Do you know the difference between assessment of learning versus assessment for learning? Any ideas? Assessment of learning versus assessment for learning. Have you heard of that concept before? Yes? Yes? No? Maybe? Okay, let's see. Let's see. No? It's new for you? Okay, so what is assessment of learning? Assessment of learning es la evaluación del aprendizaje. Evaluación del aprendizaje. ¿Qué significa? We evaluate them at the end of a unit, at the end of a semester. It's high stakes. High stakes. It means that we are going to evaluate them to know if they pass or they go to the next step, the next stage or not. And the challenge with assessment of learning is that sometimes it doesn't provide insights. It doesn't provide information on the students. How many times... Remember when you were students, when you were in schools, how many times you took a test and you never saw the results of the test? You only knew that you got 15 or 17. How many times, and I know we're all guilty of that, how many times your students wrote an essay and you didn't read the whole essay and you only gave them a grade? Yes, never? Never. Okay. But sometimes we do that. Sometimes we only use the assessment to give our students a grade. That's assessment of learning. You give them a test and you give them a grade. You don't do anything else with that. And it's pass or fail. Okay, thank you, welcome. You're here, go to the next cycle. Or, like yes, exactly. It's what we call also summative assessment. But then the other one is assessment for, para el aprendizaje. Okay, evaluación para el aprendizaje. And what is that? Yes, it's ongoing. It's ongoing. Ongoing. That's the key word. Ongoing. Ongoing. Constante, ¿verdad? Yes, you can also do progress tests, right? It fosters a supportive learning environment where students can track their progress and make necessary adjustments to improve their performance. So, assessment for learning es para informar nuestra práctica docente. ¿Ok? Si yo hago el assessment for learning, estoy usando mis resultados de mis exámenes para informar. Algunas veces los docentes, me acuerdo, mis profesores decían, resolución del examen, y se la pasaban 2 horas haciendo la resolución del examen. Puede ser una forma, pero es aburrido también hacer todo el examen. Entonces, lo bueno es usar la data para poder ver qué partes está fallando en mis estudiantes y cómo puedo reforzarlo. Exacto, exacto. So this is called formative assessment as well, okay? This is the difference between these two. Now, when we discuss assessment for learning, la evaluación para el aprendizaje, we need to know where is the learner going. So that's why when we plan our lessons, we use learning, ¿cómo se llaman esos que utilizamos al inicio de cada sesión? Learning objectives, yes, learning objectives. Para eso tenemos objetivos de aprendizaje, ¿no? Y ahí saben la taxonomía de Bloom y estamos hablando, ¿verdad?, de los verbos yo soy. Seguro que ustedes lo saben. Then we discuss where is the learner now. Por ahí puedo hacer mis diagnósticos si quiero. O sea, por ejemplo, cuando alguien me pide, Enrique, yo quiero aprender inglés, quiero que me enseñes inglés. Yo siempre que les pido que hagan un diagnóstico. ¿Ok? English Score, yo les he dado sus códigos, todos ustedes pueden hacer su diagnóstico ahora y saber en qué nivel están. Porque si yo no sé en dónde estás, no te puedo ayudar. Normalmente trabajo con personas que quieren dar IELTS o quieren hacer English Score o Duolingo, like whatever test. Les digo, no te puedo decir en cuánto tiempo puedo pasar mi examen, no lo sé. Hasta que no sepa en qué nivel estás, no puedo ayudarte. Entonces, por eso necesitamos benchmarking. Where is the learner now? Evidence of learning. And then, how can we get the learner there? What is the next step? How can I help my learner? How can I provide my learner feedback so that he or she can move on to the next stage? Okay? So it's a process and it's cyclical. Or it can be iterative as well. We can go back. Maybe we need to do this at different points, right? Evaluating them and doing some types of assessment. Okay, practice for you. Tell me if this is assessment of learning or assessment for learning. Okay? Which do you think is better? Assessment of learning or assessment for learning? Of learning is better or for learning? Actually both, yes. That's the answer is always it depends. It depends. ¿En qué momento estamos? Depende. O sea, si yo estoy hablando de la prueba nacional de nombramiento docente, ¿eso qué es? Assessment of learning. Yo evalúo cuánto saben los maestros y si cogen o no cogen una plaza. No le voy a venir a decir, el ministerio no viene y te dice, mira profesor, acá has trabajado mal, tienes que trabajar más en esta parte. No te dice nada de eso, ¿no? Es como pasaste o no pasaste y cogiste tu plaza. Es assessment of learning. No está mal hacer eso, ¿no? Por eso uno no es mejor que el otro, ¿ok? Pero depende de cómo lo usamos en nuestra clase. Ok, so exit tickets. ¿Han escuchado esta estrategia exit tickets? ¿La han usado? At the end of the class, yes. When I used to teach English, I would tell my students at the end of the class, write a sentence, and I would stand at the door, and my students had to, before they left the classroom, they had to read a sentence, they had to answer a question, they had to show somehow that they understood the lesson. It's called an exit ticket. Okay? Yes, some of you know it. Okay, what is that? Assessment of learning or assessment for learning? For learning, yes. No le estoy dando una nota, solo es saber cómo está avanzando. Si está conjugando bien los verbos, si sabe poner la frase, si sabe responder la pregunta, entendió lo que estuve enseñándole en toda la clase, esa hora y media o 2 horas. What's that? It's about the learning process. It's about knowing that you are learning, right? Yes, the second one, English score test. English score. Assessment of learning. Te da tu resultado al final, A1, A2, B1, B2, C1. ¿Sabes qué resultado tienes de acuerdo a lo que has hecho en el examen? Assessment of learning. Final exam. Assessment of learning. 1 minute paper. Assessment. Okay, let me tell you first. What is 1 minute paper? It's another strategy for you to do in your class with your students. O sea, ahorita, por ejemplo, yo estaba hablando como 20 minutos, 30 minutos. Lo que hago es que les pido, en 1 minuto, hagan su papelito y en su hojita escriban todo lo que se acuerdan de lo que he dicho ahorita. 1 minuto, ¡pum!, pongo el reloj y comienza, y hacen sus notas. Todo lo que les he dicho, todo lo que les ha gustado, lo que ha encajado, lo que ha ingresado, escriben en 1 minuto. 1 minute paper. ¿Ok? So, assessment of learning or for learning? For learning, yes. You are using this exercise to know how much your students know and if they can use the language. Okay? Are we clear on this? Yes? Excellent. All right. Now, we're going to define some types of exams. Okay? We've been talking about some types of testing. We have this definition: high stakes exam, a school leaving exam, a standardized exam, and entrance exam. Do you know the meaning of these different exams? Yes? No? Maybe? Okay. Here are the definitions. Please take 1 minute to matching. Match the definitions to the types of exams, please. Okay? 1 minute. Okay, let's start. Can I have someone read letter A? Who wants to read letter A? Letter A. Yes, please, read.
Is one where doing well can lead to advance and success, whereas doing poorly can result in being cut off from academic opportunities.
Okay, what do you think is this? Number 1, 2, 3, or 4?
2? I'm not sure. Or 1.
There's another one for number 2.
1.
Number 1,
I
yes.
didn't know.
Yes, number 1. High stakes, there are 2 types of tests, high stakes and low stakes. Low stakes are usually assessment for learning, and high stakes are assessment of learning. High stakes means if you pass, welcome, you go to the next step. Welcome, you have your nombramiento. Welcome, you have your plaza. If you don't pass, bye, right? Those are high stake tests, okay? Letter B, who wants to read letter B? Yes, here. Thank you. I love the participation.
Letter B is the same for everyone, formal in structure, usually based on some type of research model and revised regularly so that test takers cannot simply memorize the test.
Okay, what do you think?
I think it's the number 4.
Yes. Awesome. Oh, sorry, that was not it. I am already.
No, we didn't see it. We didn't see it yet, I think. Oh no!
Close your eyes, everybody.
Yeah.
I trust you.
I didn't see it. I said the answer. I said the answer. I'm going to repeat the answer again.
Okay, so you said number 4.
Yeah.
Can you pass the mic so we can really
Yes, of course.
Who wants to read letter C?
C is usually administered by a school that the students hope to enter. 3, an entrance exam.
Is special type of exam that one takes at the end of one phase of the school, and which will allow successful students to enter the next phase of the school. School living exam.
Yes, okay, so you have the answers here. Entrance exam, right, for if you want to go, for example, to San Marcos University, right, you need to take an entrance exam. And the last one, our favorite one, is our standardized tests, right? As you can see for standardized tests, it says it's formal, it's the same for everyone, right? Where can I have my microphone? Yes, thank you. And this is interesting because now standardized testing is changing, and we're going to see that in a minute with English score. Because in the past, remember when has any of you taken the Cambridge exam? Yes. On paper or on computer? Paper. Remember that they brought this very nice box, all sealed, and you open the exams, and you had to have people, proctoring and seeing that you're actually opening, that no one was taking it was the same for everyone. Yes, exactly. You had to cut it in front of people. But, it's not like that anymore, because, there were times at some test centers, some people would steal identities or, sit the exam for someone else, right? So that's why it says it's the same for everyone, but that is changing because we need to be able to also change, right? This is based on research models. Yes, there's research done, and these are revised regularly, right? There is a bank of exams, as you have heard about English score. It's not like the same questions for everyone, or not only a limited number of questions. There's a lot of different questions, and then the questions change. We're going to see that in a minute. Okay, so test structure. Some of you asked about that. What is the test structure? What is the structure of English score? Do you know?
English score is the
No? Okay, we're going to watch this video.
certificate of English.
Oh, the
by the British
the volume.
the global authority
¿Pueden subir el volumen, por favor, del audio?
and assessment. Over 2 million English score tests are taken every year in over 150 countries. We have a core skills test which assesses grammar, vocabulary, reading and listening, as well as tests for speaking and writing skills. All tests are taken on a mobile phone, removing the need to travel to a test centre and use multiple layers of technology to prevent cheating. All tests are taken on a mobile phone.
Here. Okay, look at this beauty. Like how Javier was saying before, you have the core skill tests, right, which covers grammar, vocabulary, reading, and listening. But then you also have speaking and writing, right? All the skills integrated, right? So that's English score. In the past, like you said, sometimes there are some tests that still use humans to assess your ability to speak. But right now, a lot of people out there are chatting with ChatGPT every day. Do you have friends who do that? Yes, so AI can still do that, and they can even correct you better, because AI, they don't worry if you feel bad. They will just tell you if you're making a mistake. If you tell, please, correct me when I'm speaking English, AI will correct you. And they will not be like, no le digo porque pobrecita le va a dar vergüenza, ya no va a hablar. No, AI will tell you. So the same thing is happening here, right? Well, it's not only AI, it's also like peer. There's also peer grading, right? And of course you can find out more. Probably Michelle talked about that, like peer grading, right? So there's also a human portion to it, because we cannot totally trust AI, right? We still need humans to be able to first create the questions, right? And also proctoring the questions and making sure that the questions are valid. We're going to see that in a minute. Okay. All right, so that's the structure of the test, okay? Like I said, if you want to start today, you can start with your core skills test, and you can find out what your level is for core skills. Grammar, vocabulary, listening, and reading, okay? And I have some questions for you today to practice a little bit. So this is the structure of the test. Look, it's really cool because a couple of things. The time, look, 30 minutes for core skills, 30 minutes for speaking, 30 minutes for writing. So in an hour and a half, you can complete the test. You don't have to like take long hours for your test. English score will give you a result, especially like core skills. Probably this is the easiest thing you can do, and I hope you do it today. I'm going to show the same slide that Javier showed at the end, so you can scan the code and probably take the test, hopefully take the test today. It's multiple choice, right? And you get automated results. After you finish the test, you know, you don't have to wait. Like you were telling me, right? You had to wait 1 week for your score. And for speaking and writing is automated, but also peer grading. Peer grading means that other human beings are grading your test, not only AI, okay? And then you get your results in 24 hours. So it's super convenient. It's not like in the past with the Cambridge exams, you had to wait, right? You had to go online. ¿Y cuándo van a hacerlo? En noviembre. Noviembre del próximo año todavía tienes que dar tu examen. And you had to, tengo que esperar un año para el próximo examen. Now you don't. You can take it like anytime you want. I mean, there's a limit on the number of times you can take in a month, but you know, you can practice anytime. Let's practice. Now let's use Mentimeter. Please scan your QR codes. These are some questions taken from the English score practice and on the website you can find some practice questions, but you don't really need practice questions because you can take the test for free. So yeah, you can take the test for free, and your students can take the test for free. Anyone can take the test. If you want a certificate, then you would need to pay, right, Javier? Yes. But if you just want to take the test just to know your score, you can take it without having to pay. So it's democratizing testing. It's having access to testing. So we're going to practice some questions from the test, okay? And you will see how the questions change. Are you ready? Did you scan the code? Yes? Are you ready? Okay, I'm going to activate it. Have you used Mentimeter before? Of course, I'm sure you have. Okay, here we go. So this is the first question. You have 5 questions there. I'm gonna. No questions yet? Okay, this is number 1, sorry. Here you go. Okay. Are you there? Yes, I can see some people are joining. Okay, 22 people have joined. You can rescan the QR here if you need to. So it says, I had much fun at your party last night. Choose the correct word to complete the text. So you see, it's pretty simple, super easy to answer. Of course, you would need the knowledge of English to answer this question. I have more people, please answer. So most people know the answer already. The right answer is so much fun. You don't use such, right? When do you use such? Such as or such a? To exemplify, yes. And then to is always followed by an adjective. You cannot say, you can also say too much, but what is the meaning of too much fun? When you use too much, is it positive or negative? It's more than necessary, it's negative. A lot of times students like to use too much, but too much has a negative connotation. When you say too much, it's bad, it's not good, okay? Thank you. Okay, next question. This is my daughter Celine. Name means moon. I also have a son and a daughter. Okay, please answer. Answer in the... Okay, so here let's do the analysis. Let's do some assessment for learning. This is my daughter Celine. Name means moon. And then you are using, you can just say who because Celine is a person. You know that which is not a choice. It's not an option because which is for things, not for people. So you say whose or who, but you say who is for people, but I'm talking about name. Who name? Can you say who name? You never put who and name together, right? This pronoun never goes with another noun because it's a pronoun. However, you can use whose because it's a possessive pronoun, right? So whose name means moon. Great. Next one. Thank you so much. So here's one that I love. This is a conditional. This is a third conditional. The past unreal conditional. Do you remember teaching this? Yes? It's fun, right? It's been a long time since I've had to teach this to my students. This is the third conditional. Yes, third conditional. To talk about past unreal events. Something in the past that happened that we cannot change anymore. All right. Yes, awesome. If you hadn't helped me, I wouldn't have finished the project. What is the formula for the third conditional? If with the past, yes, and on the other side, on the other clause, would or wouldn't, have, and the past participle. Yes, so perfect, you did it all well. Would and would is not an option in the first part, right? And the last one for you, he for the delay, but I didn't have anything to do with it. It was my boss. You have, oh sorry, it's involved. I had a typo there. Blamed, annoyed. What is the answer? Go ahead. But I didn't have anything to do. This is a vocabulary one. But it's not a grammar one, it's a vocabulary. So these questions are taken from the test, from the English score test. Okay? Blame me. Yes. Me, yes, me. And me. It was me. It was my fault. It was my bad. Sorry. He blamed me. Yes, you blame me. Yes, please blame me. Yes. He blamed me for the delay. He blamed me for the mistake. Yes. All right. So yeah, blamed. Yes, I know, it's blamed. But this is a vocabulary one. It's a vocabulary exercise. And the last one, you already did it. If you give me your assurance that you will monitor him and make sure that he does his job properly, then I will give him one last chance. Assurance is the right word here. Not declaration, not perspective. This is a vocabulary one. It's a vocabulary question. We also have reading and listening. We don't have time to continue practicing, but you can practice with the test online. You don't have to, do it. You want to practice more? Download the test and take it. Yes. Okay, some challenges, Let's discuss. The challenge with tests or standardized tests is that they are academic, right? They are written for academic audiences, for the job, for the world of work, right? A lot of times the questions or the statements or the vocabulary will be based on the world of work. So the challenge is that it takes longer time to develop the proficiency for academic contexts. Okay? So what is a solution for that? Standardized testing versus course content. Sometimes the distance between the course curriculum and the test can be big. So how can we bridge the gap? How can we in our classrooms use standardized testing? Any ideas? What can we do? Bridge that gap between the standardized tests and the classroom. I have some ideas for you, okay? Let's see. Use authentic input. What does that mean? Any ideas? Authentic input. Real. Authentic input means input or information, texts, audio that were developed for native speakers. That's authentic input. Quick question for you. When you listen to a song on the radio, do you understand everything? Probably not. But as you get better, I lived in the United States for 2 years. After my time in the United States, when I listen to a new song, it's easier for me to understand what the song is about, right? So that's input. I'm using authentic input. When you watch Netflix, do you watch Netflix in English or in Spanish? Subtitles? Yes. Okay, so that's authentic input. When you read, yo siempre les digo a mis estudiantes, si les gusta el TikTok, bájense que todos sus TikToks sean en inglés, que todos sus Reels sean en inglés, ¿no? Exacto, que tu menú de tu celular sea en inglés. Entonces estás usando input todo el tiempo. Hagamos eso. Un ejercicio que me hicieron cuando yo era estudiante en el colegio, porque los estudiantes del colegio siempre dicen, profe, no, yo no sé nada de inglés, no sé nada de inglés. El profesor nos mandó a buscar en nuestra casa palabras en inglés que encontremos en la ropa, en los utensilios, en el televisor, y nos fuimos a buscar, y yo ahí aprendí la palabra stainless steel. Todas las cucharas atrás tenían stainless steel. Comiendo todos los días y nunca me había preguntado qué significaba stainless steel, hasta que mi profesor me dio esa tarea. So that's authentic input. Authentic input. Okay, let's try to create activities where you can give your students authentic input. ¿Qué más? Test-like questions. Muchas veces cuando hacemos los exámenes, y no sé cuál es la realidad de cada uno, pero me ha pasado que creamos o hasta los worksheets, los ejercicios para los alumnos, porque nos encanta la gramática, ¿sí o no? A los profes nos encanta la gramática, ¿sí o no? Entonces, hagamos que nuestros ejercicios de gramática sean más como los que le mostré y menos como put the verb in the correct form, ¿no? Y el alumno, ¿qué hace? Lo único que hace es ver el sujeto y cambiar, ni siquiera lee el resto. Porque no es necesario, porque lo único que tengo que hacer es ver he works, she has, nada más. En lugar de tratar de hacer un examen como los que hemos visto, donde tienes 3 opciones y tienes que ver, si es que era aquí, acá, allá, y ver la opción correcta. ¿Ok? Test-like questions. And the last thing, assign test prep, mock exams as homework. O sea, podemos decirle a nuestros alumnos que para revisar puedan dar un examen como English Score, si están así estén de repente al terminar su nivel básico. Pueden dar el examen y ver cómo están yendo, cómo están mejorando. Y pueden ir tomando, no tienen que sacar el certificado, pero pueden ir practicando con ese tipo de exámenes. Hay un montón de formas de practicar y ya se descargan el app de English Score y pueden dar el examen y practicar, sin necesidad de crear las preguntas ustedes como docentes. ¿Ok? Ok, one activity for you. Let's see if we have time. Probably we don't. But maybe it's going to be homework for you, okay? Because I don't think we have time. But the idea here is for you to choose one of these tools. These are some of my tools. Maybe you have your own tools. I heard that you have a lot of tools. ChatGPT, our favorite. Quizlet, Copilot. I heard some people use Copilot. Who uses Copilot here? Yes, I heard. And Flippity, have you used Flippity before? No? Yes, some people use Flippity. So hay un montón de herramientas. No tenemos que pelearnos, nadie va a decir esta es mejor que la otra, cada uno lo usa y se siente cómodo con lo que usa. Totally fine. They are tools. Es como las metodologías. Hay gente que dice, el grammar translation está mal, no se puede hacer. No, ¿por qué? Si es una metodología, se puede usar. Todo lo que está a tu alcance, lo puedes usar a tu advantage, to your advantage. Same thing with AI. So, el ejercicio era que ustedes creen una pregunta utilizando su AI favorita y luego la compartamos, pero no tenemos mucho tiempo para eso. Pero ya queda de tarea, ¿ok? Homework, ¿ok? Autonomous homework. And then we had a screenshot where you were going to share. But yeah, o sea, tampoco no nos pasemos tanto tiempo creando preguntas para nuestros exámenes. Los pueden hacer. Ya saben ustedes. I don't need to tell you that. ¿Ok? Cultural differences, that's another challenge. Cultural differences, cultural bias. When we are writing our tests, make sure that your students, the test or the task that you're writing have to do with the culture of your students. Les cuento una historia. Una vez trabajando con docentes me cuentan que enseñaban inglés a los estudiantes de beca 18, que venían de otras partes del Perú. Y ¿cómo nos gusta cuando enseñamos family members? ¿Cómo hacemos? Un family tree. Y le decimos, ok, Mario is Teresa's husband. Y usamos, ¿no? Y los estudiantes no sabían que era un family tree. Y cómo era la conexión que este es casado con este y estos son los hijos de esto. No entendían, nunca en su vida habían visto un family tree. Y nosotros asumíamos, el docente decía, pero ¿cómo es que no entiende que este es el esposo? Nunca lo ha visto. Cultural bias. So same thing happens in testing. O sea, si yo pongo una pregunta, ¿verdad?, con un tipo de vocabulario o un contexto sobre, no sé, fútbol americano, ¿verdad?, va a ser más difícil entender porque no sabemos cuáles son las reglas de eso. ¿Ok? En un reading, por ejemplo, hay que asegurar que toda la información está en el texto, que no asumo que mi alumno sabe qué significa eso. No, que por cultura general debería ser, no. It should be on the text. Exacto. Y uno puede decir, claro, pero ¿cómo no vas a salir del aeropuerto? Pero claro, hay gente que nunca ha salido, nunca ha viajado, nunca ha subido un avión. Y no podemos asumir que sabe y que es intuitivo. Exacto, thank you. Contextualizing is important for testing incluso. One more thing. Okay, cultural bias, we already talked about this. Making sure that your students work around the language, practice types of tests, the items of the test, and finally using explicit examples. And this is also otra cosa que es también cultural bias, es por ejemplo, y otra vez, English Score lo bueno que tiene es que es multiple choice. Hay otros exámenes que tienen ejercicios que son muy sofisticados, que si no sabes el tipo de ejercicio, así sepas buen inglés, vas a fallar. Porque por ejemplo, te ponen que llenes y reconozcas qué palabra es de inglés y qué palabra no es una palabra en inglés. Es más difícil, porque ¿cómo vas a saber todas las palabras del inglés? O hay exámenes que te dicen, tienes que rellenar estos espacios con una palabra de tu cabeza. Pero te pones a pensar y es difícil. Entonces hay ejercicios, o te dicen, tienes que transformar esta palabra en una palabra que encaje aquí. Y es como, otra vez es cultural bias. Porque sentence transformation, yes sir. Yes, and it's hard. O sea, mucha gente puede saber inglés y puede hablar súper bien. Pero si no sabes el tipo de pregunta y no te has preparado con ese tipo de pregunta, no vas a pasar el examen. Y eso es cultural bias también, porque es asumir que hay personas que tienen un nivel de preparación para dar ese tipo de examen. Entonces, haciendo más democrático, democratizing English testing, es hacer un examen que sea más accesible para todos, que no me requiera a mí tener que tener una preparación súper específica para ese examen, sino sea mucho más fácil como un multiple choice. ¿Ok? Finally, the proficiency levels. We have different proficiency levels. ¿Cómo puedo adaptarme a los niveles de mis estudiantes? Eso se llama adaptive testing. Do you know the difference between linear testing and adaptive testing? Yes. Cuando hacemos un examen para mis estudiantes al final del curso, ¿cómo es normalmente ese examen en papel? ¿Es linear o adaptive? Linear, normalmente, linear, porque es un solo examen para todos. Pregunta 1, 2, 3, 4 viene en orden. That's linear tests. But adaptive testing, what is that? According to their ability. Y va cambiando. Si hago una pregunta muy bien, respondo 2, 3 preguntas de un nivel me llevan al siguiente nivel. Como dice aquí, miren, I start, I do this one right. If I do it right, I go to the next level. But if I do it wrong, I go low. And then I go, maybe I do it wrong, I don't go on to the other level, and I get to A1. But if I do it right, I keep moving up, and maybe I get to C1 or B2, okay? That's adaptive testing. I adapt depending on the level of my students. Esto es difícil hacerlo en la clase, pero lo puedo hacer con exámenes como English Score, okay? Adaptive testing. Yes. Okay, how are my students well prepared? I need to know the structure of the test. You mentioned that. How do I think like the test? How can I put my mind to the test and to know what kind of questions they have? Using past tests, previous tests to prepare, and also knowing the test-taking strategies. One thing here is, for example, going back to el examen de nombramiento. Todos los exámenes pasados están ahí en la web. Casi todo está en la web. Muchas veces mis estudiantes me decían, no, profe, es que usted ha vivido en Estados Unidos because that's why you have a very good English. And I said, maybe. But I already had a good level of English before living in the United States. Remember I told you I took the TOEFL and I got a really high score? Because I practiced. Because I would go online. And before we didn't have AI to practice with. Now we have so many tools. So we really need time. And I understand because sometimes we have kids. We have husbands, we have wives, we have parents that are old, and we need to take care of it. We have a lot of responsibilities, yes? So we don't have time. Pero hay que ponernos, pues, priorizarnos también nosotros. Porque si no dejamos de estudiar, o sea, si dejamos de estudiar, yes, ma'am.
Yo quería comentar que yo di el examen de nombramiento, pero solo me preparé una vez. Y fue la vez que lo cancelaron el examen. Después ya no me preparé por cuestión de tiempo y normal, aprobé los exámenes sin haber estudiado, pero creo que el conocimiento y también la experiencia un poco como que te ayuda a de repente aprobar o recordar esos ¿no? Los casos que te dan.
Porque todo es con casos, los exámenes de nombramiento. ¿Quiénes han dado el examen de nombramiento aquí? Levante la mano. Okay. Bien. Sí, son bonitos los casos. Y como dice, si uno sabe la práctica docente y la hace, puede hacer los casos, pero también es el nivel, ¿verdad? Bien. Vamos manejando. Well, we don't have a lot of time for this. This is about student anxiety. Some of you mentioned that. One thing that we mentioned is don't cram. Do you know the meaning of cramming? Cram? Yes? Anyone knows the meaning of cramming? Cramming is a slang word. When you study, es como estudiar todo de último minuto. Es tratar de poner todo en tu cabeza en último minuto. Eso es cram. So, yes, don't cram. Also, positive thinking. Imagine yourself finishing the test. Okay? Imagine passing the test. Develop positive rituals. You know, going for ice cream after you study. Make sure that you study every week for 1 hour, and after that hour you go for ice cream. Right? Yes. Set yourself goals for yourself. And listen to your body. This is another thing, but breathing well, positioning your hands well, it helps. Have you ever done yoga? Yoga here, yoga. Hay un montón de colegios ahora que están haciendo yoga para sus estudiantes desde primaria. Y stretching, y breathing, desde ahorita. O sea, ya, porque esas generaciones, porque somos una generación, yo siempre digo, el reflejo de cómo manejamos en Perú es nuestra crianza y nuestra poca habilidad de poder manejar nuestras emociones, porque estamos totalmente cansados, venimos de una cultura donde nos han exigido, donde nos han dicho, ¿por qué sacaste mala nota? ¿Por qué cuando hemos sido niños? Entonces estamos ahorita en una época donde estamos todo el mundo así, que mírame y no me toques, ¿no? So we really need to think more about ourselves. We need to put ourselves first, okay? Yes, well, you're gonna have a chance to do this later, these videos. This is the last part, I promise. One thing that you will like about English Score is that English Score was created for the world of works, but it's an Excel spreadsheet. Súper chévere, tienen un montón de preguntas de acuerdo a lo que se necesita. Porque es lo que debemos trabajar ahora, el lugar de preguntas de acuerdo a lo que se necesita. Porque es lo que debemos trabajar ahora, en lugar de enseñar al estudiante, hoy día vamos a aprender el present perfect, debo decir, hoy día vamos a aprender a have face-to-face conversations in English. We're going to learn how to have phone conversations in English. We're going to learn how to read and send emails. English score se basa en este tipo de functions, language functions. Okay? Yes. So we have that. It's leveling, making sure that you have the right level for the tasks that you need to do with the language. Okay? The other important thing about a test is validity. And you probably heard about that today, right? Yes. So making sure that your test is valid and that is measuring the ability that someone has to use the language. That's validity. Making sure that, yes, when you say that someone has A2, it's A2, and they're using the language for specific purposes. Okay? That's the meaning of validity. Todo examen tiene que ser válido, valid, and reliable. Y esa es la otra característica. Reliability. Yes? What is reliability? Are test score consistent over time on multiple test attempts? It means that if you take a test today and then you take it tomorrow, you're going to have a very similar score, right? You're still going to be A2. If a test gives you today A2 and then tomorrow C1, it's not a reliable test, right? So that's the good thing about English score as well. It's going to be reliable. It's going to give you the same result today, and if you take it, I mean, unless you start learning and practicing and then you improve your level, of course, right? But it's hard to change your level one day from another, right? Okay, and this is the last thing I have for you. Please, please, please download it. Download it, take it, show me your certificate, okay? It's good. It's good for practice. And we're all teachers of English. We need to know what our level is, and we need to make sure that we continue practicing and we continue improving. We're non-native speakers of English. We know that. We all make mistakes. It's okay, but we can improve. Let's use everything to our advantage and improve. Take advantage of free resources. No one's charging you for this. You don't have to pay for this. And please use it so that you know what your level is, okay? That's all I had for you today. If you have any questions, I'm here. If not, thank you so much. Muchas gracias.
Todos los participantes que han estado interactuando con nuestros ponentes el día de hoy, por favor, adelante la señorita Aneli Morales, Lady Oroya, Cori Padilla, Paola Chacón, Stephanie Herrera, Javier Campos, adelante por favor para que los colaboradores del Centro de Idiomas les puedan entregar unas pequeñas sorpresas aquí al centro, por favor. Aneli Morales, Lady Oroya, Cori Padilla, Paola Chacón, adelante por favor. Stephanie Herrera, Javier Campos, Sara Navarrete y la Miss Karen también, por favor. Adelante. Le van a hacer entrega de unas pequeñas sorpresas por su participación. Adelante, por favor. Muchísimas gracias a nuestros ponentes para el cierre de esta jornada en estos 2 días de este Congreso Internacional de Idiomas dentro del SENATI, al señor Enrique Liñán y al señor Javier Carreño también. Muchísimas gracias por su participación. Excelentes ponencias de gran provecho para todos los asistentes. Ahora sí.